And welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. We got a very, very, very good show for you tonight, filled with superstars interviews. Dedicating this show to my uncle, Phillips Hisense, who passed away today at 3:10 in the morning, 81 years old, due to Alzheimer's. I mentioned he's my uncle, but he's not my uncle. He was my second dad, my brother, my best friend. We were closer than anything. Uh, I lived in the same room with him for about 30 years when I was growing up. This one hurts to stupid disease. just just hurts. My uncle Philip Pasek was born January 19th, 1942 in Iași, Romania. He was an engineer. He moved to Canada with my dad. He worked at the Royal Hotel with my dad for over 35 years. We later put him into a home, and I won't say anything about this home, but if you ever have to put somebody in a home, never put him in Bathurst and Drury area. I'm not going to dignify them with the name of that home. He had a great laugh. He made everybody laugh, smart. And gone 3 years ago, before COVID. Could run, could talk, could write. 3 years later, a vegetable. I lost an uncle, much more than an uncle. Like I said, a second dad, a best friend, not only to me, but to my family. The nicest guy you'll ever want to meet, the biggest heart. And I dedicate this show to him. I contemplated not doing the show, taking a break a little bit. But I owe it to the people who work at Fired Up Network, the great interviews that we have here. It's wrestling weekend. You know, I'm known for wrestling, NWA 75 and All In, but it's not about wrestling. It's not about shows. It's about doing good and helping the people. And we have Femme part of this, and Shauna Brown and Courtney Riddell have their shows, Renaissance Mama and Talk with Shauna. My uncle will want me to do the show. So I dedicate the show to my uncle, to my second dad, to my best friend, Philip Pasek. I love you. I'll never forget you. And this family was stronger because of you. Now I'm going to throw the first interview is Wrestling with Sales, NWA star, Kratos. NWA has their NWA 75 show this Saturday, Sunday. Here is Kratos again. Philip Pasek, gone, never be forgotten. My best friend, my second dad, my brother, my uncle. And The only thing I remember him fondly running and letting my daughter, who just turned 16, win. Here we go with Kratos.
I'm Gerald Bentley. This is Wrestling With. Today we are on the Fired Up Network. We are brought to you by our friends at Montway Auto Transport, and we are joined by one of the most powerful men in the great sport of professional wrestling, Kratos, and he has a chance to become, I believe it would be the 94th holder all-time of the NWA National Heavyweight Championship. Three-way dance coming up at NWA 75, going up against the Thrillbilly, Silas Mason, and Odin's son. Hey, Kratos, thanks for joining us here.
Yeah, thank you for having me, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, you've been involved in promotions across the world, former NWA World Tag Team title holder. What does it mean to be in this big event, one of the flagship events of the NWA, and get a chance to go for the national title?
Man, I mean, in a nutshell, it's everything, brother. It's what I trained so hard for. It's what I got into the business for initially, and just to be able to sketch my name in the history books in the NWA. It's everything I worked so hard for. It's truly everything I became a professional wrestler to be. I wanted to be in this business not to just be a wrestler. I wanted to be the guy. I wanted to be a top guy, and I wanted to be someone that's a household name. So to be able to get this opportunity with the NWA is it means everything, man. Not only as a wrestler, but just everything outside the ropes as well. You know, for family, friends, supporters, fans, everything. The ones that follow my journey from the beginning and the ones that just jumped on now. It's cool, man. It means a lot, and it's gonna happen, man. It's not if it will. I will become the national heavyweight champion, and we'll rock with it after that. But yeah,
There you go.
that's gonna happen.
Well, listen to some of the grapplers that have held that title historically. I was just doing a little research before we had you on here. Paul Orndorff, Tommy Wildfire Rich, the living legend Larry Zbyszko, Nikita Koloff, Buzz Sawyer, and of course, most recently, EC3, and he's going to
Yes.
be facing Tyrus for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship during the event. And I know you won the tag titles back with Aaron Stevens at NWA 73.
Correct.
Do you feel, do you guys, when you get into the event, when you're at the Chase in St. Louis, do you feel the historic nature of it? Because you take a look back,
Yeah.
it's amazing all the events that have been held at the Chase.
Yeah, and that's one thing too, man. It's when you're there, it's just the energetic feeling that you get, you know. And I don't claim to be a historian, but I do know a lot about professional wrestling and just the guys that have walked that aisle. It even goes back to me, just even the guys that changed in the locker rooms. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, man, there was Ric Flair here, you know, all the guys that have just been in this area, and then now, you know, the little kid, as you know, the little fan comes out, and it's just like you're standing by the curtain and you're about to walk out at the Chase. It's a pretty cool feeling that you knew that your idols have once done this, you know, and now that you're here doing it and at this level, and then now able to chase gold in the NWA, it's a really, really cool feeling for me as a talent and for me as a person to understand that, you know, all the hard work is not going unseen, and it's basically coming to a head. Everything that I've dreamed of, everything that I worked for, and yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Because when we walk in there in the beginning, you know, we go to all the talent meetings, and you know, you just walk in and you see the arena empty. It's like just to feel that energy already with not one person in the seat yet. It's really, really cool, man. When you just stand in the middle of the ring and you're looking around, just taking it all in. It's like this place is about to be full of just crazy ass NWA fans. It's a really, really cool feeling, man. I love it, and that's why I don't know, man. It does something to you, and it's when you feel that energy back from the fans, it's one hell of a rush, man. I can't get enough of it.
Well, and I think it's a unique element of the National Wrestling Alliance too, especially since
Yeah.
Billy Corgan brought it back to prominence. Never really went away, but brought it back to prominence. The small, up close, kind of intense feel you get. I mean, you're going to have about 1,000 people there. So literally every seat's a great seat. And you're seeing some really high end professional wrestling. I mean, people
Well,
like you,
100%.
people like EC3, recent guest we had on, Dak Draper. I mean, it's people that you recognize. It's people that you're going to be up close, personal with, and you're seeing them. Trevor Murdoch, Mike Knox, lots
Yeah,
of
dude.
lots of big
Those
names.
houses.
Yeah, big
Those two
guys.
guys are freaking Jesus.
Well, and you're by no person's definition are you a small man.
No, yeah, thank you very much, man. It's just go back to Trevor and Mike and just those guys. It's to pull the curtain back a little bit, those guys
Mm-hmm.
are very, very unique talents, as far as, obviously size but just their mind and the way they approach professional wrestling. And that's not only them, but that's what I love about, Billy Corgan. It's just the way he approaches professional wrestling. It's very different. It's extremely passionate, and it's something that I can truly get behind and love to be a part of. Those guys are obviously monsters and, generals in the ring, but just the whole approach on the outside part of it is it's something great to be a part of, and it's obviously, you could tell, because now it's really, really gaining traction and gaining momentum, and it's something that's not going to stop. We're only going to get bigger and better, and I think we have the talent to do that, and we obviously have the right guy in the driver's seat. So it's great to just see it just continuously grow, man, at every event, social media, traction, just people talking about it. I'm getting stopped now, which is always humbling and cool.
Sure.
It's like, it's awesome, man. And it's only going to get better when I'm the champ. So,
Yeah. Well, hey, let's talk a little bit about the two guys that you're going to be in the ring with, the Thrillbilly, Silas Mason, and Odinson, who I know you've had some run-ins in the past with Odinson. This is another match, big, powerful guys going at it. You're going to see some intense, kind of old school pro wrestling going.
oh, absolutely, man. No easy way to put it, man. We're going to beat the shit out of each other, and it's, Odinson and I were tag team partners in the Crockett Cup. So that was awesome. We gained a lot of momentum with that. I think the fans took a great, great liking to us. And, Odinson, I can't really sit here and talk anything bad about the guy. He's obviously a house within himself. He's built he looks like $1 million, and he moves athletically and he does things that are, again, very unique. But unfortunately, when I was so close and I had the best seat in the house and I was his tag team partner on the apron, I did see a couple weaknesses. I did see a couple things in his game that people can capitalize on. And I talked to him about that. And, unfortunately we came up short in the Crockett Cup, and, now it's just my time to capitalize on the things that I saw weaknesses in, and I will do that. And, as far as Thrill Billy, I like to call him No Skill Bill. It's, to me, the guy is, there's no easy way to put it, man. And no one is short of the fact to know that I'm not fond of the guy. I don't like him. He is big. He does do things that are very powerful. He is a big man, huge. And he's very strong. I can admit, I'm man enough to say, when I was in the ring with him, I've never been thrown around like that by any other man. And he picked me up and threw me around. So, the guy's huge, he's strong, but again, I'm just a all around better wrestler than him. I'm very more physical. No one can match me power, speed. And when it comes on August 26th in St. Louis, fans are going to get their money's worth, but I'll be the last one standing, and I will be the NWA National Heavyweight Champion, 100%.
Well, you got to believe, right? Because if you don't believe, there's definitely not a chance
Yeah.
to pull it off.
Right.
So, what was it that brought you to the NWA when it kicked back off? And you've been involved now for a few years, and you've wrestled around the world. Big star in Japan.
Thank
So
you.
this is
Yes. What's funny, I met Aaron Stevens probably, I would say, roughly about 6-8 months before I got the call from him. And when we initially met, again, that's a guy that, if I could pull the curtain back a little bit, is just extremely knowledgeable about wrestling, man. That guy is definitely one of the greatest minds in professional wrestling. And I was just talking to him, man, and we were on the same, at the time he was running like the promos and stuff for Marquez, and I just met him during a booking, and we kicked it off, man. And he was again giving me his knowledge, and I of course listened. And then 6 months later, he gave me a call and he said, I need your help, man. We need to take these belts off of. At the time was Eli Drake and James Storm, and I ran with it. I said, absolutely. And that night we won the NWA tag team titles, and we ran with that for a while. And just to be under his knowledge of Umbrella, man, I elevated every time I wrestled with him. And it was great, man. I was just, it's one of those things where I could just say I was at the right place at the right time, and I fit the bill for what Aaron wanted and what the NWA wanted. And it just kind of like one of those things where I just answered the call and it fell on my lap and we ran with it and had a great, great time, and now here's a chance again where I've been with the NWA and now I get to do it on my own. So I'm very, very excited, man. And then to do it at the Chase and to be able to do it at there, it's very, very huge for me because of the history behind that place. And again, man, I'm in there with 2 studs. So for me to just sit here and trash talk, it's okay. It's what I'm supposed to do, I guess. But
sure.
It's just going to be 3 very talented guys going for something very, very historical, and I'm going to be the last one standing. So,
and as a dealer, you spend a lot of time buying cars at auction. If you're using Edge Pipeline to manage your purchases, then this is big news. Montway Auto Transport is partnered with Auction Edge to add a transportation option onto Edge Pipeline. Now dealers can manage their auction buys and book transportation with just one click right in the Edge Pipeline platform. As a nationwide leader in auto transport, Montway understands a dealer's need for speed and efficiency and can arrange single or multi-vehicle moves from auction to any lot in the country. With Montway's technology, dealers can gain full transit visibility and tracking after an order has been booked, making it much easier to manage inventory. Buy, ship, and track all in Edge Pipeline. Go to www.montway.com/WS to learn more. And then you win the national championship in the NWA. You're in that position too. You could
Chase Tyrus,
defend
absolutely.
it for a little bit, and then it's time to go for the
Tyrus or
NWA
EC3.
World Heavyweight title. Yeah.
That's what I said. That's what I said previously on a Instagram live with Joe. I said, wouldn't it be cool if it's done? If I held both titles at the same time, that would be pretty cool. So, but one step at a time, man. I got to get past 2 bulldozers first. So
Sure. And how do you feel just about the growth of the NWA since you've been involved? Because it really does seem to be picking up the momentum and just growth overall in pro wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, what a great time for professional wrestling, but yeah, all around, man. Like I said earlier, we have the right guy in the driver's seat, and one of the things that really motivated me and I was driven to be a part of this was you look outside of what WPC have done, Billy Corgan, what he's done in the music industry.
Sure.
and how his
Smashing
journey
Pumpkins.
there, his journey there, they kind of went through the trenches too in the beginning, you know what I mean? But he just stuck to his true self. He stuck to his passion, and they just did what they did, and they believed in themselves, and it carried on to what a 30 plus year career, and
Yeah.
all the ups and downs of his career. And then now to have the privilege of, it was pretty cool, man, when I got to when we got to tour in Mexico with him, and then to see him, that's my boss in his element as, the lead
Yeah.
singer for the Smashing Pumpkins, and just
That
sold out arenas.
yeah,
It's
that
like,
that show's available on YouTube right now. Part of The World is a Vampire.
yeah,
You guys in Mexico against some of the AAA stars. That's a tremendous event. And you guys packed the stadium. It had to feel
holy
really,
shit.
really good seeing those two worlds combined, because you got the Smashing
Yes.
Pumpkin show, then you guys.
Yeah. See, that's what was cool about it, man, is just to see the two elements come together, and just to see how much it meshed, and just walking out to that amount of people, and to just hear the crowd, and then back to him, it's just the people that go crazy for him, and just to really soak it in that this is all because he believed in himself, just get down to it, besides obviously the talent and what, the things he has to be who he is. It all comes down and boils down to he believed in who he was, and he's just stuck to his grits. And that's what the NWA has. So when we won the tag titles, NWA is obviously very relevant in the industry, but to see its growth from just the houses that we've had in different cities,
Hmm.
we went to, a few hundred. Now it's thousands. And, now it's, Mexico was shit. I don't even know how many thousands of people were there. And, the festivals that we're doing around the world. And then, doing the pay-per-views that we've done previously to the NWA in St. Louis, everything's been sold out. So it's like myself that I've been there a while, to where you're seeing the growth for yourself, and you're not just getting fed bullshit. It's like, okay. And he's always, his mind is just always going for something else, as is ours. So it's really cool to be a part of. He's a great guy to just sit down and chat with. That's another thing, man. He's very approachable, but he also will tell you no when he feels it's not, the right thing. So again, man, it's just a great place to be. And then, our locker room, as far as the talent, you look at any other roster right now, even the WWE, AEW, Impact. I mean, we are a huge in size and in diversity. Like everyone, there's no clones, so to say. You know what I mean? Everyone has a
Sure.
unique style. Everyone's like very unique in what they do. So everyone that walks the aisle is you know 31 flavors of ice cream, man. The fans can get behind whoever they want, and I just think it's great, man. And then when the bell rings, it's like you said earlier, it's hard ass hitting wrestling, man.
Hmm.
You know, everyone that goes out there puts in 100%. Not just the guys, the girls. The girls are like, I'm gonna go on record saying it. They're like, I truly believe they're the best in the world. You look at Camille. I mean, look at her stint now as the
Sure.
NWA World's Women's Champion.
The
I mean, like,
one-time
one
NWA Women's
time,
Champion, over
it's
800 days.
and again with her growth, and then again just with just the whole locker room, man. It's everyone's getting their confidence, everyone's coming into their own, and I think it's just a great time to be an NWA fan, and to know and to feel and understand that it's only going to get better. It's huge, man. It's a place to be right now.
And I have to think too that you guys, yourself, the other competitors in the ring, you do get a little extra momentum when there is a packed house, and especially
Oh,
something like the Chase, a small, not small, but it's a ballroom. I mean, it's not an arena, but it's going to be packed, and the people want to be there. The people are intense. They're into everything. That has to be a huge momentum boost for you, especially coming out of the COVID period where
oh
you were
man,
wrestling in front of empty studios.
that's the thing too, man. It's like, you know, being blessed and having the opportunity to wrestle during COVID was awesome, but it definitely was like, it was so different, man. Going out there, and and trying to turn it on and, have matches with nobody there, because the energy that you get from the fans it's it's like I like to say, it's your drug, man. It's what gets you going. You
Yeah.
walk out the curtain and you hear that reaction, and you get the energy from the fans, and it gets you just more like, okay, and at the end of the day, we're entertainers, so to have the fans back and have the fans there, it's 1000% different, man. Everything hurts a little less, when they're there, getting slammed and thrown around in an empty arena, you definitely feel it a little bit more. But yeah, just to have a packed house and to come out to that aura is it's awesome, man. It's a great feeling. It's why we do what we do. We entertain them, and little do they know they give us that entertainment tenfold. So it's cool.
Well, and hey, just to kind of wind it down, we're here on Wrestling With. You can subscribe on YouTube and follow it, and also see it on the Fired Up Network. Go to the championship round here. Got our dealership rescue title belt for you. Just a few quick questions to wind it down. Historic venue, the Chase Ballroom. Started wrestling from the Chase back in 1959. So, related question: what's your favorite all-time wrestling match? What wrestling match did you see that got you going, saying, "Hey, I want to do this"?
Well, my grandmother in the San Francisco area used to be the head of security at the Cow Palace.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, obviously her children, which is my dad and all his brothers, were the security guards at the Cow Palace. So I used to go to all the events, all of them, circus, wrestling, all this and that. And then as I got older, I didn't want to go to anything else but the wrestling matches. And the one match that I can remember when my grandmother surprised me and dad surprised me with a front row seat, I finally got to sit in the front row, was when I saw Ultimate Warrior wrestle Papa Shango. And that was the moment for me when, as a kid, when I remember when I saw Ultimate Warrior stand right in front of me, shake the ropes and get in the corner, and it was right in front of me, and he did his thing. And I just remember looking at my dad and saying, I want to do this. Like, that's going to be me one day. And so that's the memory that goes to my head when I think when it first initially clicked for me, was that very moment, is when I saw Ultimate Warrior and Papa Shango wrestle front row in the Cow Palace.
Great. Good memory. And Cow Palace, big venue.
Yes.
NWA, AWA, WWF. Yeah.
All of them.
All sorts of matches from there. What about your favorite place to wrestle? What was your favorite venue you've been able to wrestle in? You've been all around the world.
Obviously, the Chase is one historically for that. And then two, another one historically would be the Corcoran Hall in New Japan.
Sure.
And then I've been blessed to wrestle a lot of places, man. And then for me, just as a fan and just doing my studies and watching guys that I study from, was obviously the ECW arena in Philly. That was a big one for me too, to be able to walk that aisle and be in the back and just understand that, damn, ECW, fucking all the guys have been here and done that. And to be able to go there and to get the Philly crowd riled up, chanting "F you Kratos" and doing all the good stuff there, that was definitely a cool moment for me. So it'd probably be out of those three, man. For me, I can't
all good
really
venues.
Just pick one.
And then just to wind it down here, because we're coming up on the end, but coming up on the 26th, day one of the 2-day NWA 75, the 75th anniversary show from the historic Chase in St. Louis. Winner take all for the NWA National Heavyweight Championship. The Thrillbilly Silas Mason, Odinson, and our guest, Kratos. After you win the national title, Kratos, who do you want to defend it against first?
Tyrus, EC3, whoever wins.
There you go.
I'm pulling out the big guns, baby.
Go right to the top
to it.
And
why not?
Two belt Kratos. Hey, I know you're
I like that.
Aside
2-belt Kratos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking some time out of the gym. You're getting ready. You're getting pumped up for the match. Of course, everybody here watching on the Fired Up Network or YouTube, you can go ahead and find it. Just search the NWA. All the information is out there. And if you're in the area, St. Louis, you can go see the event at the Chase. Thanks for stepping into the ring on Wrestling with Sales. Really appreciated you having you on and talking about the NWA. And if you need some cars transported, if you're at a dealership and you're watching, our friends at Montway Auto Transport, they can deliver the cars to you just like Kratos is going to deliver the National Heavyweight title to the fans of the National Wrestling Alliance this week. You can go find them at www.montway.com/W.
Hi friends, I'm Courtney. I'm a performer, speaker, and a writer. I'm a mama to 3 crazy boys and a super sweet dog. I decided 12 years ago that I needed to create a business that worked for me instead of me working for it. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur who may be considered a serial entrepreneur by some, but then I realized that all of my businesses focused on connection, community, and creating an incredible experience. I cannot wait to share with you how to make small but mighty changes in your life to affect your overall well-being and create a life and business you want to get up in the morning for. That's right, my friends. I am the Renaissance Mama. Hi friends, it's me, Courtney, the Renaissance Mama, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to check out the show. And I'm going to ask you a big favor right now. If you haven't done so already, would you please consider sharing this show with a friend, someone who you think needs to hear it, because I love my audience and I want it to keep growing and I want to keep on sharing and really just share as much as I can with as many people as I can. And if you have another moment, maybe you could even leave me a review, because I love hearing from you guys and what you are thinking. So, today's episode, this is something that has been weighing on my heart for a while now. It is something that is so huge and I think is going to change so many people's lives in the next few years. Today, we're talking about AI, artificial intelligence. But why I think I've been sort of sitting on this episode for so long is, number one, I am by no means an expert on AI. But I am somebody who's really willing to learn. And I'm also someone who strongly believes in using tools and resources. For the longest time, I've always been the person to say, hey, I'm trying something new, or I need information about that, or I want to do this. I'm sure there's an app for that. I have used apps in the past when I am trying to maybe change a habit. Maybe it's something like I want to drink more water and I want to keep track of it. There is an app for that. I've used it. When I wanted to try a different kind of eating, I tried a keto style lifestyle a few years back, and the easiest way to do it was having an app to give me information, an app that I could, write down my intake, an app that was supporting me make these decisions. So I've always been a firm believer that, if there's a tool and a resource that you can use to make life better, to make things easier, then go ahead and use it. But AI is growing bigger than I think anybody anticipated. And the way people are using it now is absolutely incredible. But I can also see on the other side why some people are a little bit hesitant, just where to get started, how to do it, that is what we're going to chat about today. I'm going to chat with you all about how I am personally using it. So once again, not an expert, but a regular mom and a business owner, because I think they're both very different ways you can use it, but very similar. And once again, if you are not using it, I strongly think you might get left behind. If you think about it, AI is making it so much easier for people to do certain things, and they are able to do it so much quicker. So if you don't hop on this bandwagon, I don't want you getting left behind. The first thing I kind of want to look at though, when we are talking about AI, is I do want to address some of the concerns, some of the conversations I've been having with people, and where they get a little bit nervous when we're talking about AI. And I think the first thing we kind of need to kind of realize or accept is that AI has been around for a while. You've probably been using it without really even knowing that's what you're using. Do you happen to have an Alexa in your house, or maybe a Google Home, or do you ever use your phone and use Siri? If you have, those are different versions of AI. Have you ever been looking at something and all of a sudden had, an ad pop up that is something that you may have been talking about or something you may have been searching earlier? Once again, AI. Have you in your email ever been, sent an email saying that something looks like fraud? Once again, it's AI. So I think once people start realizing like, okay, wait a minute, I have been using this already, I think people will slowly start kind of getting comfortable with using AI even more. The second thing that a lot of people are a little bit hesitant about when they're talking about AI is the privacy issues. So I can completely understand that, whether it is something you are doing about your family or maybe your business. I would just suggest for now not to put out all the information when you are trying to work with whatever AI that you're using, but maybe just really looking at their privacy policies depending on what app you're using. I would also highly suggest using more reputable and popular apps. Then we know, okay, they've been around for a little bit. Maybe they're a little bit easier to trust. I myself I started originally using a copy AI. I started months and months ago, was kind of my first little way I was putting my toes into the water, testing it out, and I absolutely loved it. Now I have been using the Chat GPT, and you can start off totally free. You can start off just playing around with it, but you don't have to really worry about it not being reputable. It's a very good company. It's been around for a bit. Once again, if you are nervous about privacy or security or anything like that, I would just not give that certain information to the AI when you're asking for things and when you're giving it prompts. I wouldn't give it anything that I wasn't comfortable if it did get out, not being too upset. So that's kind of how I look at that. I can guarantee there's probably going to be a whole bunch happening within the next year or 2 years on how to really, keep your information private when you're working on AI. But if it is something you are concerned about, that is how I would go about it. And then another concern I've heard from a lot of people is that they think AI is going to take away people's jobs. And I can definitely see where that can be coming from. I myself have, like I said, I've been using it more and more, and the amount that it can help, like it can write an email like that. An email that I could have spent hours before trying to, make it perfect. I still check it. I don't just send it and go. That's another thing. We'll chat about it. But I definitely see how people would be concerned that it could potentially take jobs away. But I also firmly believe that AI is a tool. So for example, if I'm talking about copy, and if you were to normally, invest in someone to write copy for you, then do you think those copywriters are going to be out of the job? I think those copywriters are just going to use AI to be even faster. They are going to use that tool and use that resource to be the best as they possibly can be. So it might be eventually, you know, your jobs might change a little bit. I think there's going to be some brand new jobs that nobody's ever even thought about now that AI is becoming such a useful tool. And then the last thing that I've heard a lot of people kind of just being a little bit hesitant about when we're talking about AI is they don't want to lose their personal touch. This one I can completely agree with. And the best way I heard this described was in a workshop. It was, you have to think of AI and your relationship with it as like a dance. So if I'm creating an email to, I don't know, clients, let's say I'm writing out a beautiful thank you email to a client. So I could go into ChatGPT and say, write this email. But what's fun about AI is it doesn't need to end there. That is usually my starting point. So it gives me this beautiful email, but I want to add more of my personality. So you can change it and say, make it a little bit more casual, make it a little bit more funny. Sometimes I add 2 or 3 parts, put it together, then I add back to my own personality, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a cookie cutter response or email. That AI is really just starting that conversation for me. It's helping me, starting that email. Give me something that I can work with, and then I add my personality to it. So that's where the dance comes in. You don't want to just get, AI to create something for you and send it off and claim it as your own, because that's not going to feel very genuine for anybody. But if it gives you that starting point and then you're able to tweak it and add your personality, add who you are, eventually it could actually learn more about you and how you write and what you're all about, that it maybe could create that whole email for you, and there may be less and less tweaks for you to do. But if you are worried about using AI and losing that personal touch, just always think of that dance. Think of it as that conversation. Think of it as that starting point, helping you out, and then you are still adding you. You are still the one in charge. We're not worrying about computers, taking over the world and doing our job for us. So it's definitely a concern, but I highly think there's ways you can kind of work around it. All right, so I hope I haven't scared you so much. I hope you're ready to start chatting about AI, how I've been using it, how I find it so helpful, not only in my business, but for my home life, and how there are ways you can get started today. So let's start talking about how you can use AI at home. Like I said before, maybe you already have an Alexa. I love having an Alexa in my kitchen to play music, to let me set multiple timers for, I ask questions sometimes about something that I'm making. So I'm thinking that a lot of people are already using that sort of AI in their household. But maybe you haven't thought of some of the ways that you could be using AI, and I'm talking more this time about that ChatGPT as a parent and as a busy mama. Come on. So one of the first things I've been using with AI, I told you guys before, but writing copy. So writing emails sometimes, let's be honest, it can be a pain in the butt. But with ChatGPT, you can literally hop on and write, create a sincere, warm, heartfelt email to my best friend about her birthday party or whatever. I'm making this up on the spot, clearly, but that is just to give you an example of how you can use AI. Then, like what I said before, it's that dance. So you can see what it generates, and it generates in 20 seconds, not even. So quick. You can see what it generates and then you can change it. You can go from there. You can say, can you make this funnier? Change this to make it a little bit shorter. Change it so it's a little bit more casual. Whatever you want, you can change it. And then you could also move things around. You could put more of your words into it. You could add your personality back into it, but using ChatGPT for copy and emails and things like that has been amazing. The other day, I was prepping a sponsorship letter for my kids' hockey team. So, not a shocker, but I got voluntold to be the manager of not one, but two of my kids' hockey teams. And I, of course, said yes because I love them and I love the team and I want them to have the best experience possible. But some days it feels like it's another job. But there's a lot of little details and things that I just don't have time for. So I hopped on ChatGPT and I asked it to create a sponsorship letter about a hockey team, and within 20 seconds, there was this beautiful letter. So once again, I took that and I changed it. I made it my own, but that is just one way you could start trying to use AI in your everyday life. Another thing that I'm really excited about to try out is using AI when it comes to recipes. So once again, you could hop onto ChatGPT and say, create me a meal plan for a low carb keto style lifestyle. And it will pop up a meal plan for you. Once again, in like minutes. Then you can go from there and change it. Maybe you don't want red meat. Maybe you don't want mushrooms. Maybe you don't want, I don't know. But you can change it and you can adapt it. You could also use it if you are thinking, what am I going to make for dinner tonight? Create a list of what I can make for dinner tonight, and ChatGPT will pop up a list for you. Then you could get even more specific. Create me a list for dinner tonight with these ingredients, and you could write out the exact ingredients that you have in your household right now, in your pantry, in your fridge, whatever it may be, and boop, it will pop up a list for you. So come on, how cool is that? How long have I been saying, I'm gonna start meal planning, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, but then when it actually comes down to it, I'm not so great at keeping up with it. So now that I have this little assistant, I'm not like Googling for hours, this might be something I'm going to look into. I also find using AI is really, really good when I'm trying to brainstorm. If I, get stuck trying to think of, let's say, gift ideas for a 7-year-old boy, you can write that into it and it will pop up a list of gift ideas. Amazing, right? So these are all things that you're like, okay, Courtney, I could have Googled that before. That's not that big of a deal. But when it's generating it really, really quickly, and then you're able to like make those tweaks and it once again generates it just for you, then I think there's a bit of an advantage there. I don't know about you guys, but I have been, I've spent hours Googling different things and, researching things, and it just takes a long time. Whereas when you're using this kind of AI and really getting specific and changing the prompts and making it just for exactly what you need or want, it is really, really helpful. Another way busy mamas could use AI is if you have to help your kiddos with their homework. So I actually have no idea how schools and teachers are going to, what are they going to do with AI? I have no idea, but I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to use it with my kids to help with homework. Once again, maybe to brainstorm, maybe to give some ideas. But I like I said, I think teachers are going to have a very, very hard time trying to spot AI, because AI, unlike I was going to say in my days, but it was probably even later than that, where people could, Google and find an essay. AI is actually created like right then and there. The concept of AI is that it's using human-like behavior. So if I were to say, write an essay about, let's say, Napoleon, it would actually be a brand new essay that has never been created before. So it's not even like teachers can say it's plagiarized, but of course we don't want to tell our kids that they could just hop on an AI and create an essay. So AI definitely could be used as a parent. In fact, I think that's probably going to be the rule in my house, as if kids are doing homework, I will have to be aware of how they're doing it. And I will say AI is not allowed doing your homework unless you come to mom first. You could also use AI when you are tracking appointments or, working with your calendars. You can try and use it to share your calendar with other family members. You can use AI to give you suggestions on how to balance your books or create budgets around the house. You could create chore lists. Like, really, there are so many ways that moms and parents could use AI within their household. And it doesn't have to be scary, and it doesn't have to be this like big learning curve or time consuming thing. But I would highly suggest that you start simple, start small, and just play around with it, because you might be surprised. You might be surprised that there is a way you can use it that you never even thought of before. All right, so I've talked a little bit about how to use AI at home. Now let's chat a little bit about how to use it as a business owner, especially a small business owner. So I think, once again, instead of looking at AI as like something scary or something you have to learn or something that's overwhelming, because I kind of felt like that in the beginning, I would say start small and start with how you can see it, useful for you. So like I told you before, for me, I started a while back using AI to help me with copy. I feel like I'm one of those people that I love to talk. Like, throw me in front of a camera and I can chat and we can have a good conversation. But I find I'm very kind of open and honest and to the point. That is my style, which is fine. That's who I am. But sometimes when you're trying to write an email to somebody, or when you're trying to create an amazing sales page, or even when you're trying to post something on social media, I always felt that my copy was a little bit basic, a little bit kind of just the bare bones. I always sort of joked that, like, when I send an email, I write the information first and then I kind of have to go back and fluff it up. So when I started using AI, and originally I started with something that was just copy, it was called Copy AI. It really gave me this confidence. It kind of got me out of my head. And it just would always give me that like stepping stone to start off with. So I would literally put in like, write for the podcast, maybe a podcast description about a show called this. So I actually could give it the title that I already knew I wanted, and I knew what the show was about, and it would create this description for me. So once again, you start the dance. I would change it up a little bit. I would sometimes like take parts of it. Sometimes I took none of it, right? So it really was just this beginning point. It would get me out of my head. It gave me that confidence boost. But I also found sometimes it just made me inspired. It would use words that maybe I wouldn't have used. So then it kind of like got me thinking more and kind of got me out of being stuck or overwhelmed. So copy is a huge way that I use AI in my business, especially when you're writing, like I said, sales pages or emails to people, or even just posting on social media. You can be that specific when you're on even Chat GPT. You can say, create a Instagram caption about a picture that's this, and it will even put in little emojis for you. So it can help you out. Maybe you could also use it, if I'm talking more about that copy still, hashtags. None of us know the right hashtags to put. That is something that AI can help you out with. So copy was my first sort of stepping stone at really using AI within my business. And those things I mentioned before, you still keep your personality because you're still tweaking it. You're still using it. You would never just say create an email and send it right out, because that wouldn't be genuine. That wouldn't be you. So using AI as a tool and a resource, that's how you start off with. So copy was my number one thing I first started using with it. Definitely, it has helped me brainstorming. Once again, sometimes I get stuck in my head, or sometimes I'm trying to think about things. You could use AI to create a title for something. So a lot of the times when I'm doing titles for my shows or anything like that, I tell it to create a list of titles about a show about this, and it gives me a list. And a lot of times I kind of pick and choose, and then sometimes I add my own things to that as well. So it really is just that stepping stone, a starting point to really get those creative juices flowing. One thing a lot of small businesses and people, you know, are running their side hustles, whatever you're doing, struggle with content, making content, creating content, brainstorming content. This is something that AI could totally help you out with. So once again, hopping into ChatGPT and really just asking, you can ask them to create a content calendar for you. You could start brainstorming different marketing ideas. There's so many options. It really, really is endless. But once again, you want to start small. You want to have that dance back and forth, and you really want to start playing around with what you are comfortable with. At the end of the day, you are still the one in charge. It is still your business, but you are able to kind of really just start working with it and seeing what works for you. When I was in one of these workshops for AI, one of another business owners said that what she's finding that is helping her, and I think I have to agree, is that sometimes my mind is just go all the time. Like I'm just boom, boom, boom. It's hard to focus on one thing. So when she's talking about like creating content or anything like that, like I have too many ideas going, that sometimes it's nice with like AI because it just will break it down nice and simple. So she found that like not only was it helping her brainstorm, but it was helping her get focused on, you know, really specific things she wanted to target in her marketing, because you can get that specific in AI and then it will give you a list of ideas. So if maybe before your social content was a little bit all over the place, this could be a way to really help you get focused and get intentional. You could also use AI to look at your reports or your data. So this is a great tool. I haven't used it quite yet all that much. I guess I do in some ways when I'm looking at my ads or things like that. I can look at the data of who's looked at those ads, and then I could actually take that information and retarget my ads to, you know, the people that I think will be the ones who want to see it the most, the ones who will eventually want to buy from me, right? You could also just share a lot of your different reports that you may have with your business, and you can have AI kind of break it down into different ways of how they can really look at it and dissect it. Depending on how big or small your business is and how comfortable you are with AI, there are so many options. There are customer service applications that you can work with. There are ways that AI could help answer frequently asked questions to your customers. There are so many different resources. I will say I haven't fully gotten there yet, but I have a feeling as my business grows, this might be something I want to look into. I know a lot of businesses lately have been starting to get virtual assistants, and now even getting AI virtual assistants. And if you think about it, I mean, it's been around for a while. How many times have you called you cannot live without? I want to know. So connect with me at therenaissancemama.com, or I'm also on Instagram quite often at Courtney Renaissance Mama. I would love to hear from you. Thank you, friends. This has been so much fun. Bye for now, friends.
I'm Gerald Bentley. This is Wrestling With, and today we are joined by Missouri's own two-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion and three-time World Tag Team Champion. Just got off of winning the Crockett Cup this year. Trevor Murdoch steps into the ring. Trevor, thanks a lot for joining us here. Big week coming up for you.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, man. That's I need to have you follow me around in grocery stores and at Walmart, man, just for my intro.
And just to give the it would jump out right when you're in line at the Bass Pro. And now, stepping up to the register, your two-time NWA Heavyweight Champion of the World. Yeah,
I'm loving it.
Yeah, that definitely wanted to get a chance to talk to you when the NWA reached out and said we'd be able to get a chance to have you on. Easily one of the most decorated pro wrestlers going right now, and I think you have a legacy and your style really blends in well to the NWA, especially the big event coming up here on the 26th and the 27th at the historic Chase Hotel in St. Louis. You and your partner Knox are going to go up against the winner of night one's NWA Tag Heavyweight matchup, World Tag Team Champion matchup, La Rebellion and Blunt Force Trauma. What are you thinking going into that match? It's a unique position because you kind of have to look at both teams.
Knox and I, when we talked when we first got together, and him and I both understand the game of pro wrestling. And we realized, like, if we wanted to be successful and we wanted to get an opportunity to become world tag team champions, we have to be undeniable. Like, there has to be no questions, no ifs, ands, and I'm pretty sure Noxie and I have done that every step of the way. When it comes to 75 and who we wrestle, if you want to break it down competition-wise, we want La Rebellion. Those guys have been the champs for 2 years. And if you're wanting real competition, why not go against the best? And they have proven that for the last 2 years that they are the best in the business when it comes to tag team wrestling. So on the competition end of it, yeah, Noxie and I would really like to wrestle against La Rebellion. And if we beat them, we can confidently say that, we're the best in the business. BFT, we beat them at Crockett Cup, even with Aaron Stevens' horseshit at the end, trying to get involved and ruin it. Knox and I still came out on top. So if we have to face them, our confidence level on whether or not we're going to win is going to probably be pretty high because we've already beat them once before.
Yeah, in a big event for a trophy.
And we wrestled
that Crockett
we
Cup.
only wrestled 3 other matches before that match, before we beat them. So it wasn't like we went in at 100%. We get an opportunity to wrestle. If we have to wrestle them, the second night on Sunday, we're coming in at 100%. So I really don't see any other thing happening other than us walking out as World Tag Team Champions. And I've never lost at the Chase. Chase seems to be my spot, my home, my moment, my place, my WrestleMania. I beat Nick Aldis there for the World Heavyweight title, and he was 1,000+ days champion. I beat Tyrus there. Man's 6'7", every bit of 400+ pounds. I beat him there. I seemed to strike magic at the Chase, and it's the house Harley built, and if anybody's going to be a Harley, represent Harley, it's me.
Well, and it's home field too.
Yeah, for
just
sure.
Just a short drive down I-70 from your home base, and
I was
really
born in St. Louis. That's my home. That's where I grew up.
Literally your hometown.
Yeah, literally my hometown.
In a hot place of professional wrestling, historic venue, going back to the 1950s. Just a huge historic part of the NWA. It makes perfect sense to have the anniversary show there.
Well, Dusty's walked those halls, Flair's walked those halls, Harley's walked those halls, Thesz has walked those halls, Sam Munchnick has walked those halls.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can add Murdoch to that name, Knox. You know, that's what we're trying to live up to. You know what I'm saying? There's no way we compete
Sure.
with that era of pro wrestling. Those guys were the originals, and they did it right the first time. We're just doing our best to try to live up to the memory and the example that they set for us.
I think your style too, it is such a good fit for the NWA, especially under Billy Corgan, where you're really going back. Not that it's a throwback, not that it's a retro product. There's everything. You got the young legend, Kerry Morton, out there as your junior heavyweight champion. You have your one-time women's champion, Camille. So there's young wrestlers that are doing things that, just haven't seen. Camille's a different type of athlete. But if you want traditional, old school, hard hitting wrestling, if you're a Harley Race fan, if you're a fan of the Ric Flair, the Dusty Rhodes era, the style and the profile, and walking down and doing it in the ring, Trevor Murdoch's your guy.
And that's the only way I know how to do it. You know, that's I say Cinderella found a shoe, as weird as that sounds. When I was with the WWE, I worked really hard to keep my identity and who I was, and sometimes that hurt me business wise.
Mm-hmm.
But I stuck to my guns, you know. And bottom line is, in life, when you wake up in the morning, I have to look at the man in the mirror. I have to be happy with the man that's in the mirror. And I know that I may not have fit the WWE mold, but I definitely feel like I stood out from that, and I was different from that. Every company I've stepped into, everybody says I'm different. I'm just an old school pro wrestler that likes to beat people up, and I like to get beat up. I know that sounds weird, but I'm not afraid to take a punch to the mush so I can give one, you know, and that's,
Yeah.
you know, it's been very beneficial for me here in the NWA.
Yeah, and you know what? You're the personification of a line you hear in wrestling commentary a lot, that the best personas of wrestlers are themselves turned up to 11. I mean, I don't think there's that much of a stretch from the Trevor Murdoch that you see on NWA Power, or you're going to see on NWA 75, versus the Trevor Murdoch that you may see at the Bass Pro.
Well, yeah, I'm not walking around and just randomly punching people in the face.
No.
But God love my wife. She knows I have a bit of a temper, and sometimes it gets a hold of me. I'm a pretty cut and dry guy. There's no gray area. You're either, you're right or wrong. You're either a good person or you're a bad person. You're either you're being disrespectful, you're being rude, and I have a tendency to speak up, especially if you're doing it to me. I've worked really hard in this business from the bottom up. No one can ever say that I've had anything ever handed to me, and I've been doing this for 25 years. So I don't want a certain amount of respect. I expect a certain amount of respect because I've earned it the hard way. And when I'm around people in my life, in my professional life, that's how I want to be treated. That's how I want the world to operate around me. Just be good to people. Don't be an asshole, and treat everybody with respect, because that formula right there makes everybody happy.
How do you feel about the NWA's position right now in the pro wrestling landscape?
I'm actually pretty excited about it. It is hard to stand out in pro wrestling right now. If you think about it, there is so much pro wrestling out there that
Sure.
It is hard for companies to actually stand out and cut their own piece of the pie. Just like you said in the beginning of this interview, NWA has been able to forge an idea and an attitude of smash mouth pro wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
where we bring it back down to the basics. And as a wrestler, you can't depend on what you normally would at other companies: the lights, the smoke, the music, the pomp and circumstance. There's a ring, there's lights, there's bell, and there's a referee. go out there and do what you do. And if you're really truly talented, you go out there and you get those people off their feet and going nuts. That's the true test of a pro wrestler. And one of the things that all of our guys have stepped up to that. The people you just talked about, Camille steps up to that.
Mm-hmm.
Kerry Morton stepped up to that. The new guys that have kind of came in within the last year, EC3 has really fit into that mold.
Sure.
It's a pro wrestler's pro wrestling, if that makes any sense at all. It's a workers pro wrestling. Guys can come in here. One of the things that I love about the company is there's no one telling me no. Now I know that sounds very spoiled, but we live in pro wrestling, and we're always, as pro wrestlers, we tend to get put in a box a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
When we come to a company, they have an idea of what they want out of you, how they want you to quote unquote wrestle, how they want you to come across to the people.
Sure.
Here it's I hired you to be a pro wrestler. Go be a pro wrestler. And it actually threw me off when I first started working here. I was only supposed to come in for one show.
Oh, really?
I was only supposed to wrestle for the NWA one show. And Dave Lagana and Nick Aldis had to talk me into that. We were at Harley's.
You were done, right?
Yeah, I was working my way out. We were at Harley's funeral. And I had felt like when Harley had passed, that was kind of a good, full circle moment for me. I had been to the WWE, lived in Japan, wrestled for the number one company at the time in Japan. I had done a lot of amazing things for a small town kid from from St. Louis, Missouri. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's, Nick and Dave Lagana said, "Hey, listen, we're starting this company with Billy Corgan, bringing the NWA back," which I had heard several times throughout the years before. You know what I mean? We're bringing the NWA back.
Putting the band back together.
Right. And you can only get excited about something like that so many times before you realize it's not going to happen. And that's what I thought with Nick and Dave. Like, this is just, all right, you guys are going to pump out a couple shows. It's not going to go anywhere. Let's, and Dave and Nick were very persistent. They were like, come down for one show, one match. Just, you know what? We'll have you agent a match. You know what I mean? We'll just come down and we need your experience. And I'm a pro wrestler. I bring my gear to every show, even if I'm not booked. I don't know. It's just habit, who I am. Mm-hmm. And I was walking down the hall and I ran into Dave Lagana the first day. And the first thing he asked me after our little pleasantries was, "Did you bring your gear?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "You're wrestling Ricky Starks tonight." And I went out there and had a great match with Ricky Starks. And I felt like, maybe I had a little bit more left in the tank than what I thought. I got in the back and Billy Corgan and Dave Lagana cornered me. And they said, "We've already got you booked for tomorrow, Trevor. So you've got," again, they agreed with me, you've got way more left in the gas tank. And they said, "Let's just run with it." And I was only supposed to do that loop. And then I got a call to do, "Hey, Trevor, you want to come back for next week?" All right. Yeah. And then I just became a part of the company. I just became one of the originals, and I'm one of the few guys that are left from the original NWA GPB studios.
Yeah. How long ago was that now? 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years, which I'm really happy. You know what I mean? We've been going for 4 years and I'm still wrestling with with Billy and the NWA, and things seem to be going really well for me professionally.
As a dealer, you spend a lot of time buying cars at auction. If you're using Edge Pipeline to manage your purchases, then this is big news. Montway Auto Transport has partnered with Auction Edge to add a transportation option onto Edge Pipeline. Now dealers can manage their auction buys and book transportation with just one click, right in the Edge Pipeline platform. As a nationwide leader in auto transport, Montway understands the dealer's need for speed and efficiency and can arrange single or multi-vehicle moves from auction to any lot in the country. With Montway's technology, dealers can gain full transit visibility and tracking after an order has been booked, making it much easier to manage inventory. Buy, ship, and track all in Edge Pipeline. Go to www.montway.com/WS to learn more. That's terrific. And it's great to see you carrying on that legacy of Harley Race. I had a chance to talk to Leland Race on the show just recently, talked about what's going on with WLW and how they're keeping the Harley Race school going. And it's great to see that foundation of Missouri wrestling still active and having you carry the banner.
It makes me happy too, because I was one of the first students. There was me and Matt Murphy were the first two students at the Harley Race Academy. We were the guinea pigs for that whole training system. And legitimately, I got sick for the first 3 months every single day. Harley, he was the type of guy that would come in during training and he would sit on the couch and he'd be smoking a Marlboro, one right after another. And the training facility wasn't very big, so it'd be full of smoke. And you're in there doing up downs and mountain climbers and an hour's worth of calisthenics, sucking in this, the cigarette smoke.
Sure.
And I'm not gonna look over at him and say something about it, and nobody else did either. So it was a tough, he put us through the rigors. You know what I mean?
Sure.
To have the name Harley Race stamped on your back, he made sure that he was going to have his guys, the guys that did have that stamp, could carry it and could carry and carry his name as well too. And so it makes me feel really good after we're going on almost 20 years of WLW. It's still going on. They're still running shows, and it makes me feel good that I was able to help be a part of that and help start that.
Yeah, the great foundation, and they're drawing people from all around the Midwest region, and it's really impressive too, because I don't think people realize how much work goes into pro wrestling training. I mean, it's not easy by any stretch.
Especially if you want to be on top. You know what I mean? If you want to be top in this business, it has to become your life. I know what I was living here in Eldon, and we were training. It wasn't, everything circled around training. That's what were we going to do today? Well, we knew we were going to spend at least 3 or 4 hours at the school. So it was always what we were going to do before that and what we were going to do after that. To be a successful pro wrestler, it needs to consume you, all of you, 100%. Everything you do at some point throughout the day needs to be focused towards wrestling. Whether it be I'm working my money to save to go to wrestling school, or I'm working my money, working to save money to get my gear, or I'm training. It has to consume you to be at a top level. And so that's one of the advice, some of the advice I give to young guys. It's okay if you want to do this part-time and play wrestler, it's okay. That's fine. If you only want to put in so much work and just that's fine. There's a lot of weekend warriors out there. But don't come to me and ask me to treat you seriously about the business and ask me questions seriously about the business if you're not going to take it seriously. Because I gave up my whole life to be a pro wrestler. Everything surrounded me being a pro wrestler. And now that I've been married, I've got a wife and I've got 3 beautiful kids. I've got a daughter who just finished college. I've got a son who's a senior, and I have a 7-year-old. Partially part of their lives surround pro wrestling because that's what dad does to bring in, to pay the bills and take care of them. And they know that. So it has to consume you. It has to become a part of your life if you want to be a top guy in this business.
Well, and I do a lot of sales training too, and I think that's true in any type of job. We talk a lot to auto salespeople, car salespeople, sales managers. If you don't internalize what you're doing and you don't have pride in what you're doing and really look at everything where, hey, I can learn something, I can apply this, you're not going to be successful. And I think you're a great example of that, because you had to climb your way out. And with Harley's training, you're going for world championship number 6 this weekend. Could be your 4th tag team title.
I'm pretty excited about it. I haven't been able to find a tag team partner like Knox in a really long time. To be honest with you, I tagged with Lance Cade. Him and I were like brothers. My children called him Uncle Lance. Lance and I made a lot of money, and we also won 3 world tag titles together. Sadly, his life was cut short at a very young age, and after I lost Lance as a partner, I really, how can you fill those shoes? You know what I mean?
Sure.
How can anybody could ever compare to that? And it wasn't something that ever interested me into doing ever again. Noxie and I had spent some time together in the NWA locker room. He beat the hell out of me on 2 different occasions trying to become world champion.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, I've never been punched harder by anybody than I have by Mike Knox, and that's 100% the truth. But after a while, Noxie and I talking and realizing that we're both kind of cut from the same cloth, and I realized that wow, like I could step into the ring and trust you, and you know what I'm thinking, and I know what you're thinking. It's a really weird kind of a cosmic situation. If you speak to tag teams, really successful tag teams, they'll tell you it's something it's hard for them to explain, but you almost become a mind reader. Like, what that guy's thinking, and he knows what you're thinking, and you guys both know where you need to go in the match and what you need to do. If you see one guy getting abused, you know that there's no questions or ask. You step in and you back him up 100%. And Noxie's Mike Knox is the first guy that I felt like if I stepped in the ring, I would get all of those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sure enough, I was 100% right. He's a brother from another mother. Stepping into the ring with him, I've got no worries that he's got my back and he can handle himself. And everybody that they've put in the ring with us, everybody that they've put in front of us at that match, we beat them. Hands down, undeniable. Like I said in the beginning, we are undeniable. And man, that's a magic that, Vince can't put together, Tony Khan can't put together.
Yep.
And I'll be honest with you, Billy even, I don't know if Billy expected to put it. It just happened. Billy was just smart enough to go, okay, I see what I have. Yeah, let him eat. Let him go out there and do what they do. Billy is really good about trusting his wrestlers and letting things happen. Pro wrestling at its greatest is when magic happens and things just create and happen themselves, just kind of out of nowhere. Sometimes in pro wrestling, we try to pre-plan and try to create magic, fabricated magic. And sometimes it comes off well, but it's still missing something. Billy knows that when he's got a lightning bolt, man, let it go, let it run, and let's see what happens. Let's not hinder it. Let's make it flourish. Let's let it grow. Let's give it water. Let's feed it. Let's make it something great. And as you see, when you let something happen like that, great things can happen. Like we talked about, people thought, Trevor Murdoch was dead and gone 4 years ago.
Sure.
I got a promoter that let me be me. I got a promoter that trusted me. I had a promoter that let me go out there and do what I know to do to not only be successful for me, but for the company and for the guys that I'm working with. And I'll be damned if it didn't work out. You know what I mean? Like, he don't get me wrong. Billy's not afraid to look at me and tell me what he thinks. Him and I've had some pretty heated arguments at times, but he doesn't take that personal. He knows it's passion. He knows that it's coming from a place of love of the business and how much I love the NWA and how much respect and what a high level I want to keep for a standard for NWA. He knows that I believe in this wholeheartedly, 100%. That to the point where I've told him that when my days of pro wrestling are done, when Billy says, Trevor, I'm just tired of looking at your face on my TV. I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
I can't get any bigger and better than what I've done here. I can't top the magic and the moments that I've been able to create here in the NWA. And the same thing I'm going to do at 75. I'm walking into my house for the NWA World Tag Team titles, and I'm going to go out there and leave it all on the line, and so is Noxie. And Billy's going to sit back and just be the magic man and sit back and watch what happens and what, 4 guys go in there beating the hell out of each other for one common goal, and that's to be the best in the business, to be the top, to be the champs.
I know I definitely would like to be in your position and Knox's position versus La Rebellion and Blunt Force Drama. I'd like the opportunity to go in there night 2 and go to work after they go to war on night 1. Hey, wind it down here. Got our dealership rescue title belt for you. Get you one more championship. Just a few quick questions in the champions round. I noticed the KC Chiefs hat. We're going to have a KC Chiefs show on the Fired Up Network as well. What's your go-to for tailgating? That's a huge part of the Chiefs Kingdom.
What's my go-to? We're talking cheddar brats and ribs.
Food, beer, whatever.
Yeah, bro. You got to have the cheddar brats and ribs. You got to have a little bit of Coors Light on tap, whether or not I'm tapping a can. I'm I'm a bit older, and I like I like some things that are on the medical end of it. You live in Missouri, what's recreationally free in this world today. So I like to just have a good time. When it comes to sports and hanging out, like I'm really big on just kind of cutting loose and having fun with my friends. When you're a professional, you constantly kind of have to be on guard on your behavior and who's watching. When I get with my buddies, I tend to forget that and just kind of cut loose and have fun.
How about your prediction for the heavyweight championship match? We have Tyrus going up against EC3. EC3 looking to control his narrative, and Tyrus, of course, looking to smash. Who do you think's coming out there?
I'll be honest with you. I've wrestled Tyrus. I know how tough he is, and I know how important that world title is to him. I mean, he goes on Gutfeld in front of 3.5 million viewers every night, very proudly displaying that world title. EC3 has always been a competitor, always been a threat in every company. He's been former world champion in Impact. So I understand why he wants to be NWA world champion, but we're going into a bull rope match where the weight advantage on Tyrus's end is almost 150 pounds. I mean, if you look at the statistics of it, I would pick Tyrus. And being the guy that's wrestled Tyrus, my money's on Tyrus. Not to mention, he lost last year in St. Louis at the Chase against Moi. And I know that there's a certain part of him that really loves the Chase, especially because him and Dusty were so close. I know that he really wants to put a W next to his name when it comes to the Chase. So with all those components, man, it's got to be Tyrus for the W.
Good answer. And then the last question, what's your favorite Harley race memory?
Well, there's obviously wrestling-wise, Flair and Harley at Starrcade is one of my monumental moments. The build up for all of that, some of the backstories that Harley told me about leading into that, even him throwing away his boots, literally throwing away his wrestling boots at the end of that match. But personally, some of my fondest memories are just sitting at his house after he's invited us over to barbecue for the day, and he'd been smoking on the same smoker that he would barbecue for Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, for all the superstars when they would come to Kansas City to his house in KC. Sitting there and having him, us ask him a random question of a match, what was it like wrestling Jack Briscoe? And he could sit there and tell you detailed where 90% of his matches were, how long they went, and what he did for a finish in those matches. One of the things too that's kind of cool about Harley, you and I, when we have quote unquote, I guess, a phone book, nowadays it's in our phone, you know what I mean? But we all used to, at one point or another, had a phone book where you alphabetically find your person's name and find their number. Well, Harley didn't have a phone book. He didn't have, he still had a flip phone to the day he passed, you know what I mean? Harley had a calendar And what would happen is he would talk to, let's say, Dusty, and he would talk to him on February 21st. Harley would talk to Dusty on February, and he'd write down, Dusty would call him and go, hey, Dusty, what's your phone number? And Harley would write his phone number on February 21st. Well, then he would go on about his business and not think nothing of it. And 6 months, a year, whatever. I remember I was doing Trevor Rhodes, and I asked him randomly, I said, does Dusty know that I'm doing Trevor Rhodes? I'm down here wrestling for you as his fake son. Does Dusty know? And he sat there for a minute and he goes, well, shit, Trevor, I don't know. Let's give him a call. And he's flipping through his calendar. And he gets to February. I know it's February 20th. And there's that number, February 21st. There's Dusty's number. He could remember the date of when he spoke to him, whether it was a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road. Whenever he needed that number, he's February 21st. He was so, he could remember dates and times and his matches. Even towards the very end, if you caught him earlier in the day, he could sit there and tell you every detail of a match. It was just ingrained in his memory.
That's neat. We'll have to have you on sometime just to kind of reminisce a little bit more about the Harley race time. Yeah. We do a lot of work with Central States Wrestling that's being reborn, and you can't talk Central States Wrestling without talking about handsome Harley Race, the king.
That's right.
But hey, we have you on because we're previewing this weekend at the historic Chase, August 26th, August 27th, Night 2. The Crockett Cup champions, Knox and Murdoch, go up against the winner from Night 1, either the current champions, Lava Rebellion, or Blunt Force Trauma. And then it's the challenge with the advantage of being fresh. Night 2, part of the big NWA 75. Thanks a lot for joining us here, Trevor, to talk about it on Wrestling With, brought to you by our
Hi, my name is Shauna Brown, and I am the host of Talk with Shauna. I'm a singer, songwriter, recording artist, currently living in Brampton, Ontario, originally from Wolfville, Nova Scotia. The theme song to my show is actually my original song called Turn Up the Microphone. You can find it on YouTube. If you could all subscribe to my channel, Shauna Brown on YouTube, that would be awesome. Thanks everybody for watching, and here's the show. This is actually going to be a very exciting episode of Talk with Shauna. As you know, I'm a singer, songwriter, recording artist, and I've told you before that the theme song of my show, Turn Up the Microphone, is my own song, which I wrote, recorded, have a music video for. So if you hang on until close to the end of my show, I am going to show you that music video, as well as some other things. So if you stick around, I will be showing you that music video. So as you all know, I attended the Wentworth 3vs3 basketball tournament this past weekend actually, in Burlington, Ontario, at the playground in Burlington. And I had an amazing time. I was very honored as they asked me to sing the national anthem. So here is the footage of me singing the national anthem live at that event.
From
wanted to share a few things with all of you that are watching right now. I am pretty excited, actually. I have some new merchandise that I have added to my website, and also I have a few samples here that I'm really excited for everyone to know about. Now, as you know, I'm a singer-songwriter, recording artist. I'm currently living in Brampton, Ontario. I'm originally from Nova Scotia, and I love music. It's really close to my heart, and I love sharing everything I'm doing with everyone here. So one of the first things that ended up happening was I was influenced by my single that just came out recently last summer called Fresh Start featuring Chaclair. Here is my music video, Fresh Start by Shauna featuring Chaclair, right here, right now, and only for you. Here it is.
Sometimes in this life, you're forced to make a choice to continue on with the way things are, or to make a fresh start.
exclusiveness had me in this cuckoo's nest. What the fuck is this? So depressed, just can't handle this. Pressure on my chest, just can't breathe. I do this to myself. Get a grip, I should be at the top, not the bottom shelf. The rain upon the window disguise the tears coming from my eyes, but I ain't going be crying no more. I'm just gonna spread my wings, and in the skies I soar, and I ain't coming down. There ain't no feet on the ground, just the wind in the air that be taking me off to this great new place. This is my fresh start, fresh start.
You made it seem like my fault. You took it all for granted, but I was giving my all. But all the time it had to fall. You made it seem like my fault. You took it all for granted,
And I'm sure if you don't already know, that song is about basically taking every day and using every day as an opportunity for a fresh start. And so when I came up with the idea of doing the ladies' shoes that I'm doing, the high top sneakers, I had envisioned a woman waking up in the morning and getting ready for the day and putting on her shoes and just really feeling like she could accomplish anything. And this pertains to guys too. I mean, I'll be making a guy's shoe too, but it really does just reminds you that every day is a fresh start and you could do anything with the day and anything is possible. I just recently shot the campaign for my new line of clutch bags, and I'm excited to show you a few of the shots from that campaign. Here they are. So I'm excited to now have some samples of the clutches that I have for sale right now in my shop on my website. Here is the first one. Okay, it's white. It's got my logo on it. And of course, you can see in the middle the labyrinth, which is a big part of what I am about. So this clutch actually, as you can see, it's white. And the front of it has my logo. The back is blank. So depending on how you're feeling, if you feel like flashing a logo one day, or if you just feel like going and with no logo, that's okay too. So this is actually made in vegan leather, which I'm very proud of. We don't want to have any harm to the animals. It is in the Saffiano pattern invented by Prada. I'm really, really excited about this. It's designed with a loop handle, so you can quickly free your hands. So if you need to just free up your hands real quick, boom, there it is. And this custom clutch bag is made for the fashionista on the go. It can hold all of your everyday essentials, such as a phone, wallet, keys. It features a zip fastening. It's fully lined with an internal pocket on the inside here, as you can see, the internal pocket. And it's currently retailing for only $39.99. I am giving a special price for this right now because I know it's the summer and it's a newer product, and I'd really like everyone to get involved with this product. It's very near and dear to my heart, and I just wanted to give everyone a great price starting off because things are tough out there right now. So I wanted to give you guys a great deal. Now that's the white one. We have this in white and black, of course. And we also have this pattern, which I like to call the pearl clutch. Now, as you can see, if you go up pretty close there, I have a bunch of labyrinths all squished together really tightly to make this special pattern. And it's actually a bit of an illusion. It makes you think that you're looking at pearls, but actually it's a bunch of labyrinths. Anyway, so this one is also for sale on my website for a great price as well. It's only $49.99. Now, if you wanted to see the white one in any other color, just let me know, because we have a whole ton of colors that you can get. But this is one of the colors, and black and white seem to be the popular ones that everyone's going for because it goes with everything. And so that's why I am giving everybody a special offer on this. I just wanted to reach out to everybody and say, hey, hope everyone's doing good. I'd love to hear any feedback you have on my bags, my handbags, of course, on my website. Now, what you can do to buy these, I'm going to show you guys these. bags again. So here's the white and black. Okay. This one, and also the pearl clutch. So you can get these on my website. Actually, my website is pretty simple. It's shaunamusic.com. You can go onto my website. All you have to do is click on shop, and you can see all of my merchandise on there. I have women's high cut sneakers. I have posters that are signed. I have another pair of sneakers on there with just my logo. And of course, I have t-shirts which have a big labyrinth on them. They're called Lost in the Labyrinth. And really small is my logo inside there. So if you're one of those people that doesn't like to flash big, huge logos all over their shirts. I know me personally, I'm not really into wearing big, huge logos all the time. Now, sometimes I will, but it's only once in a while. So if you really are looking to wear something fashionable and something to represent, and to be supportive of what I'm doing and my music, you can get one of the shirts, and that logo of mine is so small that half the time people aren't even going to know that it's on there. And they're just going to think you have this really cool shirt that has this labyrinth on it, which is amazing. So I have the labyrinth shirt in many different colors. I have it for women and men, lots of different varieties there so that everyone can be happy. And I have them on sale for a very, very good price right now. Now, once again, I want to explain to everybody what my Fresh Start line really means. When I first came out with the single Fresh Start featuring Chauclair, I had behind that song, the whole meaning behind that song was, wherever you are in your life, how old you are, young you are, where you are in your life at all, you can change your mind. You can always change your mind. At any time in your life, you can say, you know what, I don't want to be doing what I'm doing anymore, and I want to switch paths. And it doesn't matter what age you are, what stage you are, you can have a fresh start. Every single day when we wake up in the morning, it's another chance for us all to have a fresh start. And so when we released this song together, I thought, why not have a merchandise line backing this up? Backing the woman and man waking up in the morning and knowing that this whole day that's in front of them can be their fresh start. They can change anything they want. They can change things about themselves. They can start over again. They can change things that they've made mistakes in. They can become better. They can make amends with people. They can do better. And that's what this whole line is about. It's about not giving yourself an expiry date, not thinking you're too old to do something or too young to do something or not capable of doing something because of your circumstances. There is always a solution and you can find it. And when people wear my merchandise, I want them to feel empowered and I want them to feel like they can go out into the world and they can make a change, not only with just themselves, but with everyone around them. And that is what I represent. I represent people helping other people, people encouraging other people to do what they love in life, to feel like they can accomplish whatever they want. And they can do it. It doesn't matter what age you're at. Do not let anyone make you feel like you can't do something. You are the only person that knows what you are truly capable of. I don't ever want any of you listeners to think that you have to listen to what other people's opinions are of you, of what they think you're capable of, because nobody knows that but you. And you know what? Every day you wake up in the morning, you have a chance at a fresh start and you have a chance to make a difference and to make a change. And I don't want anyone to ever forget that. And I want everyone to know when they're wearing my merchandise and when they see my merchandise, to know that that is just another thing solidifying that idea for them, that they can do anything and they should not limit themselves. I just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in right now and checking out these bags. I'm going to show you the bags one more time. I'm really proud of these. So here we go. Here's the white one. I have this in many colors as well, people. If you want to order a special color, you want purple, you want gray, you want pink, whatever it is that you want, I can get it for you. But right now, I have this in black and I have this in white. This is the white. And I also have it in the pearl design right there with all of my little labyrinths in there squished together, because of course I am all about the labyrinth. I am all about okay, so in my actual logo, I have the labyrinth, and I have the labyrinth in there because the labyrinth, it represents going through challenges in life, going through turns and twists and parallels and obstacles in life to finally come to a place of enlightenment. And I feel like we are all going through that together. We are all in the labyrinth. We are all trying to come to the finish line. We're all trying to find enlightenment. And that's what I represent as an artist. I represent coming to a place in your life where you are enlightened. Everything that we're going through as human beings is part of the process, and it's part of becoming enlightened. And I really feel like that is what I represent. And that's why I use the labyrinth in my logo and in my merchandise. I think it's very huge. Also, too, I don't know if, I know most of you have probably seen the Labyrinth, the movie, David Bowie. Come on, who doesn't love David Bowie? That was an amazing movie. And I did take a little bit of inspiration from that, but I will say that that represents who I am as an artist and what I am doing with my merchandise and with my music. I can't wait to share with everyone what I have coming next. My song Reflection will be dropping very soon. This is a very important one for me. The song is about feminism and how feminism doesn't mean that she has to do everything. As women, we're thought of as doing lots of things, and that's okay. It's a great, great thing. But also, we are also thought of as having to do all of those things all at the same time. Don't forget, we are human beings. We should have a choice of what we want to do. The more things we have to choose from, the better. But that does not mean that we have to do all of those things all at the same time. I'm really excited for this song to come out. The main line in the song is, feminism doesn't mean that she has to do it all. And this is very, very deep to my heart. And I can't wait to tell you the date that it's going to be dropping. But as promised, here it is. The music video for the song to my show, Turn Up the Microphone. And it's right here now. Check it out.
There's no need to be scared.
meantime, I just want to say to everyone, I care about all of you watching. If you have any suggestions on what I could do for merchandise, I would love to hear it. And once again, you can get these handbags on my website, shaunamusic.com. Thank you. I love all of you, and I look forward to all of you tuning in to my show, Talk with Shauna, on the Fired Up Network, Female Empowerment Movement. Also on channel 38 of Viva Live TV. You can watch us 24/7. And I just want to say thanks to everyone that's been supporting me up until now. I love you all. And please do not forget, every day is a new chance at a fresh start.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley, that's Scott Savage, and you can join us at InsideTheGame.ca, our YouTube channel at Inside the Game Official, those podcast services, thanks to our friend of FiredUp Network, all 212 platforms, just like SoundCloud, and of course those beautiful TV streaming networks around the globe. I'm talking about Roku, Amazon Prime, Samsung Plus, Jinx Esports TV. That's right, we're back with season 2 coming around the corner. Scott, we'll be kicking off big with our Starfield review kicking off for Jinx as well. So make sure you tune in for that. Now, I got so much to talk about for Starfield. It's just
How do you
days,
hold it in?
It's just days away. Dude, honestly, my wife just hears it all day long. But either way, we'll be talking about that more later on. Scott, we got a lot to talk about for today's show. What do we have?
In today's show, we're talking about the Xbox exec says Starfield is just the beginning.
Speaking
what
of,
could that mean? That's right. Sony's PlayStation Portal, that's the new name for that one. Stalker 2 may be delayed again, but somewhat excusable in this case. And BioWare lays off 50, which is never good news.
Never quite good news to hear at all, but maybe this is the turning point for BioWare as well. We'll get into that whole discussion, but Scott, before we get going, dude, what have you been playing lately?
I'm actually on a Redout kink, so now I'm just crushing a lot of this F-Zero kind of speed racer. It's so good, but I feel like it's a little nauseating at night.
A little too fast? What's like F10? Like,
oh yeah, like it's incredible speed. You get objectives like hit 1,500 kilometers an hour.
Oh, whoa, dude, that's a little fast. But what's fast is us. So let's get going because we're fast away with our show today. Scott, topic number 1 comes off of, Gamescom interviews as Xbox exec says Starfield kicks off a multi-year relay race of first-party titles. Tom Ivan over at VGC. An Xbox executive has said Starfield's release is like a starting gun for the steady stream of first-party titles. Well, with the likes of Redfall and Starfield delayed to 2023, out of, I would say, 2023 last year, was a quiet year for Xbox releases, and the launch of Arcane's vampire shooter in May was ultimately disappointing, according to Microsoft's head of gaming, Phil Spencer. But Xbox Chief Marketing Officer Jarrett West told GamesIndustry.biz that he's, quote, super excited, end quote, about the regular releases the company has planned following Starfield's arrival on September 6th. Quote, this is, in my mind, the doorway, almost like a starting gun, to what I think is going to be a multi-year relay race for first-party titles, end quote, he said. Scott, what are your thoughts on just that statement alone?
Oh, it's very exciting just to hear that kind of confidence come out. But we've seen, well, the delay of Stalker 2. We've seen Avowed just kind of disappear, and now it's starting to percolate back up. But I want to stay optimistic, but that's a bold statement, I guess.
Absolutely. He continues on with, quote, I was sitting there watching the same Starfield presentation you were this morning, and I was like, this is really the start of something that's going to then lead into Forza, then into 2024 as we go with Hellblade. So that's official then, you think? Hellblade 2 coming in 2024?
That sounds like an official slip right there. I think that's
Sure
some good
does.
information, I hope.
Yeah, and we think about Towerborn, which is on the show floor. We think about Avowed, and we've got stories we haven't told as well about going into 2024 and 2025. Wes added, and then if you layer in also Game Pass and third-party relationships that we have, I think we're entering a period where this is the beginning of something that's going to be really special over the course of the next several years, end quote. West comments echo those of Xbox studio boss Matt Booty, who said in June the publisher had, quote, turned the corner, end quote, in its efforts to deliver at least 4 first-party games every year. Quote, I am feeling very good about launching Hi-Fi Rush. That was a while ago, Scott. We have Minecraft Legends out there as well, doing well, he said. We've had Age of Empires continue to come to console, which we just got again, Scott, with heading Game Pass yesterday with Age of Empires 4. Yesterday, day before? Dude, time flies. And as we saw today, we're very excited this fall with Forza Motorsport and Starfield. Quote, but when we get into 2024, it really kicks into gear. We have got Towerborn, we have Hellblade 2, Avowed. Scott, Avowed coming in 2024 as well now?
I think that was talked about just a little while ago. I think that is to be believed.
Man, I don't believe it. I'm telling you right now, I don't believe it. I think we're getting that in 2025. Flight Simulator 2024. That is actually the official title. It was funny because when they actually announced that title, everybody thought it was just DLC, not an actual another game, right? Because they just did Flight Simulator not too long ago. Came out with a plethora of just DLC add-ons, this, that, and everything else. And it's such a massive game. You would almost think they would keep that almost like a games of service model and just keep updating and keep updating and keep updating. But
I would think so, yeah. But in that particular instance, I guess there's a lot of technical changes that happen. New technology. I'm not sure how leading edge they are in aerospace, but I've had some fun with Microsoft Flight Sim before. A little lesser known story. I've actually gone to college and played with that.
Well, there you go. And then on top of that, Scott, there's things that they said they haven't even talked about so far. Xbox has aggressively grown its portfolio of first-party studios over the past 5 years, as well as setting up the Initiative, which is working on Perfect Dark, a new Age of Empires studio. Xbox has acquired the likes of Ninja Theory for Hellblade, Playground Games, Forza Horizon, Obsidian, Fallout New Vegas, In Exile, Wasteland 3, Double Fine with Psychonauts, Undead Labs, give me State of Decay 3, Compulsion Games, We Happy Few, and of course Bethesda. And as of the latest, sounds like Activision Blizzard's on the way too. June's Xbox Game Showcase featured reveals in Exile's Clockwork Revolution and Compulsion's South of Midnight, dude, which looks pretty sick, plus a fresh look at Obsidian's Avowed. Is 2024 the best year Xbox is going to have?
It sounds like they're positioning themselves in that kind of way, and that's kind of long needed, really. How long has Xbox kind of been losing the console race in one way of saying it? And now, if they can properly put these releases together, that still remains to be seen. But
yeah,
if they can stick to this, I think that makes good on the long-term plan. You see Xbox putting up billions of dollars to buy out different companies and different publishers, and that all has to align for something.
Absolutely. And then when you think about 2025, like they didn't mention Everwild, which is Rare's newest title, right? Rare is working on Sea of Thieves, and that's their games of service model that just keeps giving. And we're into the Legend of Monkey Island right now with that one and how that's all lighting up and things like that. So that one's, I think, just going to continue on and keep everybody involved over there, Game Pass, and then in Sea of Thieves. And then on top of that, they're working on this game called Everwild, which we saw something like 3 or 4 years ago. What we did see looked incredible, but we saw very little of it. And then on top of that, what we did see this year was Fable, which I don't think is coming next year. I think we'll be lucky if we even see it in 2025, Scott.
Oh, you think it's that far out, eh?
Yeah, yes,
there was a lot of. It's a very ambitious project, but seeing what we saw last with the kind of photorealism look to it, it makes me think they are further on in development. I'm still hopeful, but we haven't seen anything about Perfect Dark still.
Well, there's right? When you look at long run, what we get into, I think things are exciting. Is Starfield really the shining moment to kick things off, though, Scott?
Oh, I don't think you can talk about it too much, but you would be the person to ask, really.
Okay, yeah. What I mean is Starfield the go-to game to kind of get the turnaround moment for Xbox to get up and running into this new era, hopefully, for Xbox moving forward, where we get banger after banger after banger, right? Like, we've been waiting for those moments. Redfall fell flat on his face, unfortunately, where Starfield has this opportunity to take the world by storm. Granted, like, I can't say anything about it, but it is one of those moments where everybody's eyes are on Xbox and Bethesda for Starfield, right? So
that's why I think it is the turning point, yeah, because it just has so much hype swell around it.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether it's good or bad or not, but I know that everybody is watching.
Everybody's watching that. Hellblade 2. Hellblade's not my kind of game whatsoever, but I know the hype around it and what they're doing with production over there for Hellblade 2 looks to take that to a whole other level. If you're into the grinding some gears, then you got Forza Motorsport coming up around the corner too. So that's going to be like, dude, we are leading somewhere. But when you take a look at PlayStation, dude, we're getting Spider-Man 2 this year.
Yeah, that's
right.
I don't know if that represents a launch stream from PlayStation, but Spider-Man 2 is going to make a splash.
Certainly is. But we'll see what time will tell, Scott. It's I think Xbox is finally lighting themselves up. They've been trying to play catch up for years. And maybe 2024 is the year they finally actually catch up. Scott, just talking about PlayStation, well, Sony's remote play handheld Project Q is now called PlayStation Portal. Not portable, but Portal. And will cost $200 US. Chris Scullion over at VGC, formerly known as Project Q, the device looks like a DualSense controller with an 8-inch LCD screen in the middle of it. According to Sony, the screen is capable of 1080p resolution at 60 frames per second. The PlayStation Portal will cost $200 when it launches later this year. But while it looks like a traditional gaming handheld, it can seemingly only stream games from a PlayStation 5 console. Quote, PlayStation Portal is the perfect device for gamers in households where they might need to share their living room TV or simply want to play PS5 games in another room of the house. End quote, says the blog. PlayStation Portal will connect remotely to your PS5 over Wi-Fi, so you'll be able to swiftly jump from playing on your PS5 to the PlayStation Portal. PlayStation Portal can play supported games that are installed on your PS5 console and use DualSense controller. Scott, at the end of the day, dude, I'm pretty excited about this. I think it has some perfect opportunities for myself. I don't see this being for everybody. And at the end of the day, I really just wanted a PlayStation Vita 2. I would have liked to have downloaded some of these games and be able to kind of keep going that way, and then maybe share through the cloud my save file and then continue on, right? Like that functionality, dude, could have stepped up. But then we're in a whole other level. Like we were talking probably what, Steam Deck prices, right? So $200 for a streaming handheld device, gotta be tethered right to the PlayStation almost, kind of thing, right? To the PS5 instead of being a lot more portable. So maybe that's why they call it the Portal and not the Portable, Scott.
Yeah, that still fits as PSP as an acronym, but I've seen a lot of backlash online, and this is not exactly portable. So there is that to consider. But like yourself, you've had some good experience with other products where you can at least recline on the couch, and that means something to a lot of people.
It does. That remote play feature is a nice feature to incorporate, and if we're able to go to an actual handheld device that is meant for this, I'm anxious to get my hands on it. I've seen a lot of reviews or previews dropping just in the other day or two, and some are excited, some are, like you say, right, they're just kind of missing the mark here, not making it more of like a Nintendo Switch handheld device. We'll see, but again, granted, this is for some, not for others.
In a bit of maybe negative news, Stalker 2 may have been delayed till 2024. This is Grant Taylor Hill at Insider Gaming. It seems that Stalker 2 may be suffering yet another delay, as revealed by a fact sheet included as part of a press pack issued by GSC, Games World, the series developer. In this document, it states that Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl will be released on PC and Xbox Series XS in Q1 of 2024, despite the top of the page of the site hosting the document still reading available 2023. This would be the latest in a long line of delays for Stalker 2, the production of which has been plagued by all manner of issues, including and not least, the Russian invasion of Ukraine that effectively uprooted much of the development team. Stalker 2 is supposedly, in addition to that, not in a very good place yet. This week, Stalker 2 has made playable at Gamescom, but reports from attendees didn't exactly speak highly of the product that was available. On Reddit, one user explained, "The Stalker 2 demo at Gamescom was running on a PC at the Xbox booth instead of an Xbox. They tried to minimize the open world game into a buggy quest demo for the Gamescom, but it crashed, had game-breaking bugs and texture issues. In small circles, the sentiment is that even another year wouldn't be enough to polish the game off, despite it being in production for at least a decade. That's an incredible amount of time. For the most part, the diehard community members who have backed the series for all these years are happy with the reported delay, as it means they'll arguably get a more refined final product. GSC, however, has yet to officially delay Stalker 2. So this is not an announced delay, but it does seem quite official to me, to my eyes on the outside.
Well, there's a lot going on, right? The whole Russian and the invasion of Ukraine is definitely a problem that's hindered the studio right from the get-go. The minute that started, it just tampered everything. And, you know, we talk about delays here all the time. Look at Skull and Bones. Like, Beyond Good and Evil 2, right? We talk about Ubisoft a lot here, actually, when you think about delays. And we get into other studios that do it too. Their delays are different, right? Like, this is a whole other level right now. Some of their employees are off to fight for their own country. Like, that's a difference. This is different. So, for me, it's unfortunate for Stalker 2 to be in this state. But if they want to take another year, or another 2 years, 4 years, go ahead. Because I think they're just in a completely different place than everybody else, man, when it comes to game development. They got to be able to take care of themselves, their family, and make sure everybody over there is safe. That's the biggest priority, not Stalker 2, right? At the end of the day, this is a game we all get the privilege to play. And if it's buggy right now, it means it's not done. Delay the game. And we'll wait for it. Because, like I said, dude, family first. This is how it comes down to. This is just unfortunate. But maybe at the same time, maybe they shouldn't have put it on the Xbox booth.
Yeah, I think they should have just avoided it altogether. This is, they live in a world that you or I can't even imagine right now. And video game development would not be high on my priorities.
No, not at all. So our heart goes out to the whole team over there, and just take your time and do what you have to do and make sure everybody over there is safe. Scott, more sad news. BioWare is laying off 50 employees. Tom Ivan over at VGC. Dragon Age and Mass Effect Studio / Anthem, I'm just tossing in there, BioWare, has announced plans to lay off approximately 50 people. In a blog post, BioWare General Manager Gary McKay said reorganizing his teams was necessary as the Electronic Arts studio rethinks its approach to development. Quote, "In order to meet the needs of our upcoming projects, continue to hold ourselves to the highest standard of quality, and ensure BioWare can continue to thrive in an industry that's rapidly evolving, we must shift towards a more agile and more focused studio," end quote, he wrote. Quote, "It will allow our developers to iterate quickly, unlock more creativity, and form a clear vision of what we're building before development ramps up," end quote. He added, quote, "After much consideration and careful planning, we have built a long-term vision that will preserve the health of the studio and better enable us to do what we do best. Create exceptional story-driven single-player," Scott, I'm highlighting that, dude, single-player. Remember when EA said nobody wants... It was EA, right? Said nobody wants single-player games? Yeah.
Oh, and they immediately just ate those words.
Yeah, exactly. Single-player experiences filled with vast worlds and rich characters. The vision balances the current needs of the studio, namely ensuring Dragon Age Dreadwolf is an outstanding game, with its future including the success of the next Mass Effect. End quote. Scott. Man, we've seen BioWare struggle for a very long time. The last game they actually produced that wasn't a remake, like the whole remaster of Mass Effect, is one thing, but that wasn't a brand new game, right? That was rebuilt, which granted, I know it takes a lot of work. I'm not saying that was easy by any means, but the last game they actually produced was Anthem.
Yeah, I want to believe if this was in direct relation to Anthem, it would have happened sooner.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
there is a lot of corporate buzzword bingo, as they say, in this kind of response. So this is something that a corporation would likely say, hey, look, we're slimming down. This is what we have to do. But hey, take a look at Mass Effect. Take a look at Dreadwolf. A little bit of some jazz hands over here while they cut a lot of people loose. I can't feel good about that.
No, our heart goes out to the families that have been let go here. Hopefully they'll be able to pick themselves up and find another studio and move on. You were just saying how you saw a lot of people over on Twitter going, hey, or X, man, I tell you. It's one of those, hey, I've been let go. If you need anybody doing this, and this, hit me up kind of thing, right? So there's, man, at the end of the day, though, something's got to be done here. And you wonder where it kind of lies, right? I often don't think it's those who are affected that are the issue. You know what I mean? I think
I imagine this is not the senior level management that was responsible for Anthem's issues, and I'll blame it on them.
Yeah, dude, Anthem. I wish Anthem hit the way that Destiny has and being able to stick around and keep giving more and more content, because I was all in on Anthem until I finished the game and had nothing else to do. Like,
that's an interesting concept, actually, because Destiny 1 was kind of a miss until several packs of DLC saved it, pulled it right out of the ditch.
Right.
And now it's a very healthy IP. So that, in another world...
Well, they had Anthem on a 2.0 return, right? Like, Nate and I covered it hard here for the show because we were all in. Like, dude, there's still nothing to this day that feels like a Javelin. Like, nothing. So... is BioWare just gonna let that whole IP just die? Can they bring back Anthem at all, you think?
I don't think Anthem's gonna survive just based on the way that name was dragged, but I think Mass Effect might have some very interesting jetpack missions coming up.
The next Mass Effect feels like a Javelin. There's opportunities, I guess, for that.
I would accept that. I just hope the development team learned from something and has something productive to bring forward out of it.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens. There's a lot now, I think, at this point, riding on the next Dragon Age Dreadwolf game. So when Dreadwolf launches, it better come out hitting hard, because everybody's going to have eyes on it, because BioWare struggled for so long, for so many years now at this point, that it's just kind of like, man, what are you guys doing over there? And hopefully they'll be able to fix it. BioWare used to be a beloved name in the industry, right? Like, you mentioned BioWare, and it was top of the pedigree when it came to studios. Now you're going BioWare. Ooh, like, that's just not good right now, right? So hopefully they'll be able to fix that, because we want to be able to love these studios and have them come back again. And then maybe, just maybe one day I'll see another Anthem. Please.
I see a parallel here to Ubisoft. Ubisoft kind of buckled down, went back to their kind of more tried and true games, IPs, Assassin's Creed being the big one.
Yep.
I think that's something that BioWare should do, and buckle down on that Mass Effect. That's my preference.
I think that's what they're doing, right? Like, that's what he says right now. They're restructuring to focus on their exceptional story-driven single-player experiences. Mass Effect, Dragon Age, right? That's where you're going. Where Anthem was this play with your friends, this games of service model, which was a complete spin-off of something that they've never created before, and here they are, and now they're going back to their roots, kind of like how Ubisoft has. I don't know, man. Time will tell, but hopefully Dragon Age will be able to brand new start for BioWare, because we could all use it. Scott, the list just keeps growing. More and more games every day. What do we have for today?
Oh, it's not over. It's not nearly over. We have Blasphemous 2 on PC, Xbox One, X, and PlayStation 4 and 5, and the Switch. Getting ahead of myself here. The Shotgun King, The Final Checkmate. I've got my eyes on this one. It's on PC, PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, X, and the Switch. Firewall Ultra releases today on PlayStation 5 and PSVR 2. Ride 5 is on PC, PS5, and the Xbox X. Saints Row comes to PC now. Norn 9, not sure how to say that. Last Era is on the Switch. And Lost Eidolons is PlayStation 5 and the Xbox X.
There you go. Let us know what you're picking up over on Twitter, the official ITG. Well, that'll wrap up ITG Daily, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. As always, we bring you the hottest in gaming news each and every day. We'll be back again tomorrow. I'm Drew. That's Scott.
And we'll see you inside the game.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live, and welcome to CFL No Yards Week 12 preview with the Hall of Famer John Freeman Nelson. I've always, well, put up the 1, put up the 2, whatever. It's Week 12, right?
Well, there we go. Because I was
whatever.
like 10 and 2. No, that 10 and 2 is like
Yeah, don't confuse me already. It's been a hard day. All right, so let's get to tonight, 8:30. Good matchup, arguably one of the best matchups of the weekend. In fact, probably the best. Montreal, Winnipeg. Montreal comes in 6-3. Winnipeg 8-2. Montreal coming in hot. Winnipeg probably hotter. Who you got?
I got to go with Winnipeg here. Zach Collaros apparently is practicing with the Bombers. So does that mean he's closer to a return? Does that mean he's returning? And I've got to go with Winnipeg here. You know, obviously the Alouettes, they haven't had Cody Fajardo and a couple of others in the last couple of weeks. So you've got a 4-game win streak. You know, so you don't have your starting QB. You don't have your dudes. So what does that mean? You got a 4-game win streak. You're second in the East. But no, it was a 17-3 win. A 17-3 win back in week number 4 when the last time that these two teams played. But I'm going to go I don't think it'll be a 14-point game. I think it'll be a lot closer. But I think Winnipeg gets it done.
All right, tomorrow, 7:30, Calgary and the Argos. Don't forget, Calgary did a number on the Argos, gave them their first loss. It's the CNE tomorrow playing at 7:30. CNE is on. That's Canadian National Exhibition. The Argos, 31, Calgary 7. They're going to demolish the Stampeders.
Yeah, the juice boxes are saying right now it's a 9.5-point margin. I think it'll be more than that, especially after what happened 3 weeks ago. I think that I think that revenge will be there as a part of this. When Jake Meyer and the offense are in sync for Calgary, they're tough, but I think that revenge is going to play big here. I've got to go with Toronto without a whole lot of thought.
All right, tomorrow or Saturday at 7 p.m., Hamilton, BC. BC on a roll also. Who do you got in this one?
I've got to go with BC in the battle of Lions and Ticats. Oh, my. Right now, Ticats, they're having to go across the country. That's always traditionally tough when you're doing something like that. First team to lose to Edmonton. You got that to take into account here, too. I don't know how much of a hangover they're going to have from that loss, but losing to Edmonton, traveling cross country, playing BC, I think for me that means it's BC and it's BC big.
All right, and last game of Week 12. Yes, and I'll do the number sign there. Ottawa and Edmonton. And I'm telling you right now, Edmonton's going to be on a roll. Edmonton's going to win their first game at home in like 17 years. What do you say?
I think you're there. I think that it's 22 in a row that they haven't won at Commonwealth, and that is crazy to think about. But I think that Red Blacks come in; they've lost 4 in a row. Dustin Crum has gave them some wins back in week 6 and week 7 back in overtime. But I think that right now that whatever they have found, whatever the momentum that is there. I just think that the Red Blacks are coming in with a bad run of form. I think the momentum is there for Edmonton. So I'll go Elks. I'll go Elks getting this one done. So at Commonwealth, I think that they're off of that 22-game schneid. I think that they get the 2-game win streak. It's all brought to us by the number 2. 2-game win streak. It's week number 12. And it's a 22-game losing streak at Commonwealth. I think all of those 2s go away this week.
All those 2s go away. And remember, next week, it's the unofficial start of the CFL season because it's Labor Day. Labor Day games there. And so
LABOUR.
That's right. And that's when the CFL season picks up and all that. But we have preseason action last weekend of preseason in NFL. And Jonathan Taylor wants to get traded, and Steph Diggs wants to get traded. Steph Diggs, of course, from my team, Buffalo Bills. What about Indianapolis needs some wide receivers? We need a great running back. That could be a good fit there, no?
I mean, I think, but you've got to look at the assets that would have to change locations. I mean, I know you can look at it and go, that sounds great, a straight up deal, but you wonder what other sand will get in the gears for a situation like this. And when you have And now this is a question that has always struck me. I've never known anyone ever to be just straight up gruntled. You're always disgruntled.
Gruntled, yep.
You've never been gruntled before. Everybody's just disgruntled. I want Jonathan. I want.
And
Taylor.
what's the difference between disgruntled and gruntled? Is it more the nose? Is it what is? I need you to do some investigations for next week. Gruntled and disgruntled. Is it the eyebrow? The Rock has the eyebrow and all that. What is it?
Gruntle. Okay. According to our friends at Merriam-Webster, the meaning of gruntled is in good humor, happy or contented. Literally, if you're gruntled,
you're in good mood.
You're in a good mood. If you're disgruntled, obviously you're in a bad mood. But I never hear anybody say that they're gruntled. I always just hear them say that they're disgruntled. And if you've got a stacked running back who just is an amazing talent, and you've got a wide receiver who are both disgruntled, why shouldn't you make them both gruntled in this case? But I understand the notion of sending one to the other's location, but I think it wouldn't be just a straight up 1-for-1 deal. I think you probably have to have some picks and stuff that would be thrown into that pile.
But if you're gruntled, you establish you're happy. So, and nobody in the National Football League is happy.
No, absolutely.
Not even when you win the Super Bowl.
No,
are you happy?
Because then the work starts. It's like, the next day at the press conference. So what have you done for me lately? And what are you going to do for an encore? And those, of course, obviously those are the questions that you're going to get.
Yeah, but you're not happy because you're going to Disney World. Who wants to go to Disney World now?
I don't.
You maybe send it to Vegas.
I've never been a Disney World land person. I've never really been an amusement park person. So someone can go in my place and do all that Disney World land stuff. I've just never been an amusement park kind of person.
So as you know, you're the only segment that's not wrestling this week here on the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. But we have
because football is better than wrestling, baby. Right?
I wouldn't say that, because ask 90,000 people who are going to attend in at Wembley Stadium. But we did lose somebody yesterday, Terry Funk, and I know you know Terry Funk back in the old NWA WCW days and all that. Give me your memory of Terry Funk, 79 years old, passing away yesterday.
The thing about Terry Funk is that Funk wrestled into his 60s. I mean, deep into his 60s.
Yeah.
And to have that kind of command of who he was and the demand of who he was in the ring with ring presence. I mean, when was the Chainsaw Charlie riff? That was when he was in his mid 50s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So he's in his mid 50s and he's still popular as Chainsaw Charlie. You couldn't call him Terry Funk, I guess, but Chainsaw Charlie in the WWF at the time. And when you have Terry and Dory Funk Jr. as part of the Funk family wrestling out of Texas, and just the star power that was associated with that. And think how many different times Terry Funk mainly was a heel, but how many different personalities you could see come out of Terry Funk when he would wrestle. And like I said, Chainsaw Charlie, Terry Funk, the badass with his, with Dory Funk Jr., those kinds of things. That was what you got from Terry Funk. And I think that part of his longevity, other than him being half-past crazy, was the fact that he could continue to evolve as a heel. And I think that there are times where these days you're seeing the evolutions of heels over time. You've seen it with Roman Reigns and how he's evolved as a heel, and his character hasn't changed, but it shifted and done other things while still keeping your core. And I think that was something that Terry Funk was really good at, was evolving as a character, going in a bunch of different directions, even if it, meant that you had to invade a hardware store for props and things like that. But I think that we lose a lot if we don't remember how hardcore Terry was. And I mean, he was not afraid of doing those hardcore matches in ECW. He was not afraid of doing the things that we saw him do, all of the spots that he was able to take, especially later on in life. So, I mean, you have to tip your hat to Terry Funk as a true original of this modern era, and what folks can learn from a talent like that.
I echo those sentiments wholeheartedly. Now, John, as you can see, the producer did a great job promoting your book there, so go ahead.
Right there, Noble Strong Lessons in Destiny. Book 6 is out on Amazon. You can pick that up there. Do either a John Nelson, see, John Nelson right there. Do that search or do that search. Noble Strong Lessons in Destiny. And here in Office HD, I do have copies. So if you want to reach out to me directly and we can do the whole Venmo PayPal thing, I can personalize a copy for you and send it your way. But yeah, great story about a great family facing one of the toughest challenges that they could ever face and how their community wrapped themselves around them as they were chasing after a title. Book 6, Noble Strong. Lessons in Destiny, right there.
All right, and John, I'll give you the weekend off. No soccer show tomorrow, but we'll
You
be
mean we
back.
don't get to talk about Lionel Messi and how the script writers in the Open Cup decided to sit there and say, "Yeah, we'll make sure that he gets to a
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
dummy."
right.
And where you get to sit there, and Lionel Messi definitely last night at TQL Stadium in Cincinnati was wearing the shoes of a champion. I'll tell you that. Even though he's one win away from being a two-time champion in this first season with Messi and friends at Enter Messi CF, he is wearing the shoes of a champion. Showed you why last night.
Yeah, well, do you think they got 11 games? Do you think, and they're 11 or 12 points back?
Yeah.
You think they're going to make the playoffs? They get in the playoffs, everybody's scared.
No, I think that schedule compression and international duty are going to play a big part in all of that. I think that they've won Leagues Cup, which means they're already in the Sweet 16 of the CONCACAF Champions Hemispheric Extravaganza. So they're already in the Sweet 16. They've got that title. They're one win away going up against Houston on September 27th, and I think they're moving that one to Hard Rock in front of 65,000 folks, as they should. And I think next year you're going to have more games at Hard Rock than you had the chance to do this season at Drive Pink, because they still haven't broken ground on the new stadium that was supposed to be ready for the 26 World Cup. So we'll see what happens there. But you end up with another title. You end up with 2 titles, bringing in Messi and friends. I think that schedule compression, and I mean, remember, they're 5-0-3.
Yeah.
But in those 3 matches, you end up going to PKs and you advance. In Major League Soccer, you go 5-0-3. That's just 3 points out. That's 3 points. That's 5 wins and 3 extra points. That's not the chance to advance with 2 more points and keep going into a tournament situation. So no, I think that schedule compression and international duty are going to catch up with them. And if they've won 2 titles by the time they get to September 27th, I think they have 4, maybe 5 matches left in the season for Major League Soccer. I think that the sellout at Soldier Field, I think that that's going to be something where Messi and friends make cameos. I think that this weekend specifically, the match against Red Bulls is at Red Bull Arena is going to be interesting because you're coming from 120 minutes in the midweek. Messi's a machine. We know he's going to start. We get that. But it's all of the other parts that you have to keep an eye on. Joseph came in and played 50 minutes after playing all the minutes that he did in the Nashville match. So how many minutes do you give Joseph in a situation like that? The lineup is going to look really different this weekend at Red Bull Arena. Probably have Messi. The end friends will be the interesting part.
All right, there's your soccer show right
There's
there.
your soccer show right there.
There's your soccer show. That's John Freeman Nelson. Thanks a lot for CFL New Yards Week 12. Check him out, OSG Nelson, and check out that book. Thanks a lot, John.
Anytime, my friend.
Hey everybody, this is Joseph Hasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live, and welcome to the On the Mat Wrestling Show NWA 75 preview with my good, long-time, close personal friend, Aaron Stevens. We'll get to NWA 75, we'll get to everything, but Aaron, in Canada, everybody's talking about when are you coming back to the Toronto area? When are you going to come back to Toronto area? So spill the beans.
Well, with HWE, I'll be back up there in mid-October. Check your local listings. I'm going to be up in the Toronto area very, very soon, and always good. I get up there about twice a year for 2-3 weeks at a time, and again, it's always a good time in Toronto. And hopefully, again, we'll be here before the snow falls. Last time I was up there, it was brutal.
Well, you liked it because it's snowy in Malibu, California. You haven't been seeing snow in like however long. I know you're not there anymore, but
Thank
now,
God.
take me through. You're also an actor with all this SAG strike and all that. How's that affecting you, or does it affect you because you're a wrestler also?
Well, no, I mean, it affects me in the sense of I don't get auditions. I don't get the work that I would get. But fortunately enough, I've been able to, rely on wrestling. I mean, wrestling's paying the bills, always has, and it's a good thing. So I'm very, very fortunate because there's a lot of people that aren't as fortunate as I am.
So I don't want to cause controversy here, but I want to cause controversy. All right. John Cena is saying he's coming back, but it's because of SAG. Rock has been advised not to come back to the WWE because of SAG. Now, do you see both ways here? Or if somebody said, okay, you're a star for a great movie, or they don't want you to do wrestling, or you could do wrestling, what would you do?
I mean, whatever I thought the best career move for me was. Unionization is a great thing, I think, and especially in this case with SAG, it's a wonderful thing, and because of the battles that are being fought right now. But if an individual has the skill set that kind of covers more than one area, then that's their business to pursue it. And if they want to pursue it, great. If not, that's fine. But and that goes down to individual choice. And a lot of people that I know in SAG have kind of been very, very supportive of you got to do what you got to do to make a living. And other people are like, oh, you need to come out here to California and help us protest and do this and do that. And then those are the people with kind of the more shall we say socialistic mentality. And I've just never been one for like, you do everything for the greater good. And again, not to take away from, like, you have to have the greater good in mind, but I am not going to hurt myself just to support a cause that one way or another, it's not going to make a difference. Right. If I had more skin in the game, shall we say, in terms of like I was a complete just sole actor, of course, I'd be picketing and things like that. But no, I mean, as of right now, I support them online. I stand with what they're doing. But, people are trying to like guilt me into getting a plane ticket out to California and go protest and this and that. And I'm like, you know what? That's just not in the cards for me because I got to go wrestle.
All right, so we've been friends for quite a few years and all that. Now, looking at you, you've been taking the President of Provinces of Canada diet. You look like you're slim, you're trimmed, the guns out, sun's out, everything. What are you doing nowadays? Come on.
I'm managing. I am just a manager.
Yeah, managing, but you're. It looks like you're hanging and banging. More now that you're managing before than you're wrestling.
Well, you know what? I am just full of surprises.
Well, that's the truth here. Where's your black glove, by the way?
I have a white one now, Lucille.
All right. And what are you going to wear something special for NWA 75? Because people don't know your jacket came from Toronto, right?
Absolutely. Dom Calabretta Suits. Please give them a follow. Check them out. That they are the guys. I mean, that is the family. That is the place. Best article of clothing I ever owned. And, as we say, the Blue Beauty will be on duty at the Chase 75.
All right. So now it's time to talk about the Chase 75, NWA 75. Now, I know you're not 75 years old. The NWA has a history. You know, we talk about WWE, we talk about AEW, but NWA 75 years. Before we get to the NWA 75 and talk about your match, managing, and everything like that, give me one or two of your memories looking back 75 years.
Lord, Dusty winning the title for the first time. That's a huge one. My God, I mean, I can't. There's been so many amazing things, like what NWA and kind of what NWA stood for. You know, the Midnights versus the Rock and Rolls.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, look at the Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Harley Race. And these are the people that they have created so many moments. And it's like these magical little moments that will forever kind of live in the memories of or the collective memory of the wrestling industry.
You mentioned
what's that?
You mentioned Dusty Rhodes, right?
Yeah.
Who was, let's say, two or three guys that gave you that every good time you step in the ring, you hear him. You hear him and say, you can't forget this, you can't forget that. You know what I mean?
Really, no one. I'll be honest. Now I say that up to this point, right? It was Kowalski, make the people notice you. With Rip's psychology training, with Dusty's finishing and putting the finishing touches on me. It was all of that. But when I go to the ring now, and it was because, like, I go to the ring and it's me. Like, they put the parts together that made me. And I am grateful. And I actually, I pray every time I'm about to go through the curtain. And I call, I call them to memory, and I'm grateful for it. But ultimately, when you go through the curtain, it's your own ass.
So you sort of a couple of years ago, you had a guy named Eli Drake, and now he's L.A. Knight, and you see the rise that he's in WWE and all that. And his finishing move, and I told you about this, his finishing move is called Blunt Force Trauma.
Great. He has had tremendous success, and I actually reached out to him. And I just said how happy I was for him. And you know what? He has been at it long enough. He is certainly talented enough, and it's just great to see a guy like that get his due.
Now, when you see L.A. Knight getting the pop and all that, and I get emails, and I tell you off air all this, get emails, and Wednesday, Aaron should come back to the WWE. We're not talking about WWE or whatever, but do you miss, like, when you see L.A. Knight, you could duplicate his success. I don't care if you're 40 or 80. There's something about you, Damian Sandow, Aaron Stevens, White. What was the glove called again?
Lucille.
You keep, and you're much like, and I don't want to say this, and because I'm your friend, much like Chris Jericho, reinventing yourselves every 2-3 years. Now that people who don't notice that should notice that, because that takes something. Because John Cena could do "You Can't See Me" for 25 years, and people love it. But reinventing yourself time and time and time and time again, and being successful at it, and people loving it, that says something for you too.
Well, no, I mean, look, it's just one of those things where, like, I mean, you can't compare my success to Cena's. Cena's obviously in a different level. Again, and it's opportunity meets preparation. Look, at the end of the day, right, creatively, nobody wrote me to be the champion, right? And it is what it is, right? Like,
they dropped the ball. I told you,
there's bigger things in place. It's funny. Like, there was an article written, like, 10 people who flopped in WWE, and I was one of them. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, like, huh? And this idiot, was it Habuda Ali or something like that? I mean, he was, and like, first of all, I've never heard of this guy, and second of all, like, if you look at my career, a flop, no, like, everything I was given, I made
turn to gold
as good as I could, and like, look at the reactions I was getting. So that's a creative flop. I mean, in terms of me as a performer, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And again, like, and it's funny because I don't like a lot of these and there have been, the media has been very, very kind to me, I should say, in general. They've been extremely kind to me, and I'm grateful for that. But when they write articles about some of my friends, it's like, you know what? I would love for you to go and say it to their face, because I think like these are people that are trying to make a name for themselves off of other people's careers when they have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. And they may think they do, but they have no idea. And I just really don't respect a lot of people that do that and write kind of negative articles saying like, oh, well, so-and-so was a flop and so-and-so was a, you know, a failure. No, you really have absolutely no idea. And where they're calling other people failures, number one, you know, I would love to see any of these like so-called writers and journalists try to do what the people they're calling failures did for a day, because they would probably go home crying.
So that brings up another question. We'll get back to NWA 75 in 2 seconds here. How many years have you been at this? 15, 20 years already, right?
Oh God, I don't even know. I don't keep track. That's why I don't age.
Okay. All right. So, and you've been a wrestler, you've been a manager, you've been behind the scenes or whatever. What's the most difficult thing you have to partaken in wrestling? Is it, I think, because you got the training, wrestling is second nature to you, right? So what's the hardest thing you've done so far in the 15, 20 years?
And I'll be honest with you, like travel is whatever. Going to the ring's easy and great. I absolutely love that. And again, you can deal with people that aren't the best to deal with sometimes, but you just kind of move on. The most difficult thing for me personally is when I was out at I was the booker from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and now there was a lot of amazing talent out there, incredible talent that I am still kind of actively involved in their careers to this day. But there was also some talent that like, okay, hey, here's what I'd like to do. Let's do this, and they would kind of question me, going, "Well, when is that? I don't know." And I'm like, "You, number one, really are not that good in the ring. You are coming at me in a way that is kind of like, you know, it is insulting, right? Because pretty much, and I'll say this, everything that I have said, hey, we should do this, has worked. And I'm not, again, trying to, like, I mean, ask any of the talent that's worked with me. I mean, and I give talent a lot of freedom too. Like I like to let talent paint for themselves. But when a talent is like, oh, I think this would be better, it's kind of like, oh, okay, you know what? Go ahead and try it. And there was an incident where a person was wanting to go through a table, and I'm like, hey, this table isn't going to break. And they, you know, oh no, it will. Trust me. And I'm like, and this is someone that, you know, had been doing this to a degree at the independent level for some time, and was kind of like trying to call my bluff. And I went, okay. And sure enough, table didn't break. And they tried again, and the table didn't break. And then, you know, they got to the back, and they couldn't even look me in the eye. And I'm just like, oh, okay. So, like, people like that's the difficult part, to where, like, when I was first coming up in the business, if people that had been to places I haven't been had told me something like, hey, this is probably a good idea, I would listen to them, and I would do it. I would apply it, and then it would work, and I would go from there. And a lot of people, like, just the unwillingness to actually, I guess, just say, all right, let's go ahead and execute this. You know, another person was given an opportunity to do something, you know, really kind of like outside of the box and cool. And, you know, they turned it down. Well, all right. Years later, they're asking me to help them with NWA. And I just said, I'm sorry, I can't help you, because I'm not going to put my name on anyone that is not willing to kind of like go out of their comfort zone for the TV. And by out of their comfort zone, I'm not talking anything stupid that's going to diminish them or kind of paint them in a light that is anything other than like what a talent should be painted in, right? It's respectful. It's not like they're doing matches where they're kind of put in a precarious position or wearing something that they shouldn't be wearing, or in a storyline that's involving, like, you know, any kind of romantic thing. No, this was just like business. Like, all right, let's try this. This is this episode. Like this particular episode is it's going in this direction. You know, can you serve this role? And They said no. Okay, fine. I mean, I'm not going to argue over it, but at the same time, from a business standpoint, where I'm in a position now because I'm not in the NWA office at all. Like people think I am, but I'm not. But like if they ask me to help them, and I've worked with them before, and they have really demonstrated attributes that are, let's just say, less than desirable, I'm not going to put my name on someone straight up. Now, if I believe in someone, and I'll mention his name, EJ Sparks. EJ Sparks, in my opinion, should have a job anywhere he wants. That kid is so talented, and I am continually fighting for him. And
why do you think
I want to see that kid succeed so bad?
Why do you think he doesn't get the push?
What's that?
Why do you think he doesn't get the push? If it
It's just timing. It's just timing, and I truly am that kid's biggest supporter, and I will continue to push for him.
All right. So speaking about pushes, now, like I said, 15, 20 years career, who would you like to get in the ring with one time or several times, have a feud with, and who would you like to manage?
Don't care. I'll be, you know me, Joe. I'm kind of a cut from a different cloth. I don't care. I mean, look, I've wrestled everyone I care to. It's all the same when you get in there. It's business, and as far as I'm concerned, and again, there are people that obviously are bigger names than me and stuff like that. But as a performer, I don't care who I'm in the ring with. When I'm in there, they're in the ring with me, and that's what I have to tell myself in my head. Now, that doesn't mean I go into business for myself. It means I have the confidence to execute my character and execute what I'm supposed to at the highest level. That's what helps me do it. Manager-wise, no, my job is to essentially highlight the talent I'm with. I'm fortunate enough where I can still talk and kind of get my own reactions, but any reaction I get, like the difference is, if I get a reaction personally, I pass that right along to whoever I'm managing. And if they get a reaction, my job is to highlight their reaction. That's the difference.
Okay, is there an adjustment from wrestling to managing?
No. I mean, other than that, no. No, you just you go out, you flip the switch, and you take care of business.
Okay, I have to ask you this question. You know what I'm going to ask, because we're bombarded here every time. Every time you're on here, is he coming back to the WWE? Is he going to go to AEW? Is he going to do this? Who cares? I'm going to ask you: are you happy?
Yes, I'm actually NWA. I couldn't be happier there, to be honest, and very grateful to Billy, very grateful to Pat Caney, who has kind of taught me a lot of lessons, let's say, that I didn't learn when I was in the WWE in terms of, and I'll say like maturity, where Pat has really caused me to look at the industry in a different way as a talent. And it kind of makes me a better talent having that understanding. And I'm very, very grateful to Pat for taking the time to kind of just break it down. And that's something that I am, really trying to like embrace wholeheartedly, the way I would a character and a gimmick, because again, ultimately it's going to make me a better talent in the long run.
All right, we're getting back to NWA 75 here, August 26th, 27th, St. Louis here. And there's been talk of Roman Reigns having the belt 1,000 days. Great. All right, great. There's been talk of Gunther having the Intercontinental belt. Now, great, okay? But nobody in media-wise or whatever, and I'm going to bring it up here. How many days, Camille? How many days is it? Over 800 days for a championship, a ladies' championship?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. When is somebody going to put something on her here? 800 days.
Yeah.
All right? Over 800 days. You hear about Roman Reigns, you hear about Gunther. Put some respect on Camille. Go ahead, Aaron.
No, I mean, look, that number speaks for itself. I mean, what can you say about that? But also, let's look at La Rebellion. What tag team has held the tag titles for 2 years? That's a hard kind of, and all the titles, right? When it's a singles title, you just worry about yourself. Tag teams, you got to worry about your partner and whatever else. 2 years is a long time to hold on to tag team championships. In fact, I can't think of a tag team that's held the belts for 2 years.
No.
In recent history, anyways.
Yeah.
So it's very, very interesting what's going to happen with La Rebellion and BFT at the Chase. Of course, August 26th and 27th. We have them night one, and BFT is going to get it done.
Now, I got to ask you this. Vampiro or you managing, like, is there's going to be some a little bit of hatred, or you're best friends with Vampiro?
I'm not best friends. He said it out there in an interview. I'm afraid of him. I'm afraid of him. Look, at Crockett Cup, I may have acted like I was afraid. It was mind games. I'm not afraid of any man or vampire or whatever. I assure you I'm all man, and I assure you that at the Chase, I am not going to be afraid of Vampiro. I'm not afraid of him now, nor have I ever been. And people can write all they want that, oh, yes, you were clearly scared. You were this, you were that. No. And I tell you what, you can tune into Fight TV. That's night 1, August 26th. So you should get 2 nights because it's going to be – it's really – I mean – let's talk about even past our tag match, Tyrus and EC3. Tyrus's career's on the line.
Yeah. It's and EC3. I talked about how built you are. This guy is working like a machine there.
He is. He's ready. He is ready.
He's ready, and I know you got Blunt Force Trauma ready and all that. Give me a match other than the one you're involved with, and other than EC3 that you're looking forward to the most.
You know what? The women's match, Camille versus Natalia Markova. That's going to be one to watch.
Yeah, that's certainly one to watch. But we have to. Speaking about the women, last time you were on here, I was going to congratulate you. I was mad that I didn't get an invitation to your wedding.
Oh, right? Lord! Well, that didn't end well. So
yeah, that didn't end. But do you have any regrets?
No. All we can do is look forward. We can never look back, and regret entails looking back. So I ain't down with that.
All right. So again, NWA 75 happening Saturday, August 26th, 27th from the Chase. And like Aaron said, get both nights. Because I know there's other wrestling this weekend, especially in London and all that. But it doesn't conflict with the NWA. NWA 8 o'clock, other wrestling 1 p.m. So you got a day of wrestling. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put my money where the mouth is. All right. There's another league that blew up that's 85,000. But the league to watch, the NWA, is the league and the organization to watch this weekend, because Aaron told me. And Aaron is going to have, and I'm going to spoil it. I'm like Paul Heyman. Okay, Aaron, you're not going to like this. I think, you haven't told me, I think there's going to be a little bit of vampirism. Is that a word? Okay, in your
I'll
match.
bring my garlic.
All right, Aaron, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you social media wise.
You can follow me on Instagram at the Aaron Files, TheAron Files, or Twitter at Aaron's Thoughts, ARONS Thoughts. And I'd like to say one more time that I do stand strongly with SAG-AFTRA, even though some people in my life are like, you're terrible for not getting on a plane and standing in line. No, I very much am all for what the union is doing. I stand with the writers. I stand with SAG. And that's something that I want to make very, very public and very, very clear, because I don't want to be misquoted at all. So you can, if anyone misquotes me, Joe, have this clip up and ready, because the media tends to do that. And no, I am very much SAG-AFTRA strong and with the Writers Guild. And again, I support everything they're doing, and I will continue to use every platform I have to show my support.
And he supports that. And we have one final question. It comes from your good friend here, Giancarlo Alino, who can't be on this show because he's in the washroom. All right. So he said, what do you think of Cobra Kai? What do you think of Cobra Kai this year, next year, whatever? I'm not familiar, but go ahead.
Got a big final season.
Yeah.
We got a big final season.
Have they called you yet? Have they called you yet?
They have not, but hey.
That's it? That's all you're going to say? Big final season? They're like, come on, give a cliffhanger. You here, I'll do, I'm like Paul Heyman.
All right, fine. Here's just my personal opinion, because I don't think Kreese, all is not what it seems with Kreese and Terry Silver. I think we have some kind of a swerve, and I hope they do not turn Kreese babyface at the end. That's all I'm saying.
All right. And remember, fans, this weekend, NWA 75 years. 75. You talk about tradition. 75-year anniversary. There's going to be something special. I know all these guys plan something special. It's the 75th year. Saturday, August 26th. Sunday, August 27th, 8 p.m. from the Chase. Witness Aaron Stevens, good close personal friend. And my opinion, a couple years ago, you went for the NWA heavyweight title. They never recovered. They should have put the title on you. Somebody who has that title is no longer in this company, no longer anywhere. All right? They should have put the title on you. You know, I'm very opinionated about that. That's all I'm going to say.
You know what? It's a long game. Let the chips fall where they may. At the end of the day, I will put my skill set, I will put my body of work up against anybody's.
Simply, and like all I can say is simply the best in the ring, outside the ring, and an even better person in life. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, this is Joseph Pasek with Fired Up Network on the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. Yesterday, wow, what days here. First of all, today is Vince McMahon's 79th birthday. Happy birthday, Vince. Yesterday, we lost Terry Funk, 79 years old. Just minutes ago, Triple H tweeted out that Wyndham Rotundo, aka Bray Wyatt, has passed away at the age of 36. Now, I'm going to give you what I know has happened with Wyndham or Bray Wyatt. Earlier on this year, he contracted COVID. Took him a lengthy struggle, but he was on the way back to be cleared and joining the main roster again. I have heard for the October Premier Live event. Today, he suffered a massive heart attack and passed away, age 36. So that's what happened with Wyndham Rotundo, aka Bray Wyatt. Also, today, and just in case you missed it, earlier on today, 3:10 in the morning, getting a call. My uncle Philip Pasek, he's more than an uncle. He was my uncle, second dad, my brother, my best friend, passed away from the effects of Alzheimer's. He was 81 years old. Had the biggest heart, the kindest gentleman. This hits home. I'm dedicating this show, and by the way, nobody has a show like this but the Fired Up Network. Here, the flagship show, Fired Up Live, which, by the way, you can see on 30 apps. Download the apps like Momito, Flickhouse, Viva Live TV, Glory Star, and you could watch it on smart TVs. The smart TVs, of course, are Roku, Samsung TV Plus, Amazon Fire TV Sticks, Apple TV, Hisense, LG Smart TV, Android TV, Philips Smart TV, and we're adding a couple more in the next few weeks. Now, on this show, we had Wrestling with Sales, Gerald Bentley. He had an interview with NWA wrestler Kratos previewing NWA 75. We had Courtney Riddell, female empowerment movement, with the Renaissance Mama. Then another episode of Wrestling with Sales with Gerald Bentley. He interviewed NWA wrestler Trevor Murdoch, again previewing NWA 75. Famed musician Shauna Brown with Talk with Shauna. Also, we had Inside the Game,
And then we had Hall of Famer John Freeman Nelson with a preview of Week 12 in the Canadian Football League that gets underway today. Just got underway 10 minutes ago. And you just saw him, good friend Aaron Stevens, formerly Damian Sandow in the WWE, with a preview of NWA 75. And we're going to conclude the show with myself and Giancarlo Alino on the wrestling show / on the mat wrestling show, where we talk Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Impact Wrestling, NWA, AEW, plus preview NWA 75, AEW All In, and Impact Wrestling Emergence happening at the Rebel Entertainment Complex Sunday, and the Aftermath Emergence at the Rebel Entertainment Nightclub on Monday. What a show. And plus, Shauna had Shaw Claire on her show as well. And congratulations to Shauna. We tipped somebody off to use her as a anthem singer for their event. And they used her on Saturday, and she was very good singing the national anthem. So here's the last segment of the night. We're at 3 hours and 8 minutes. The segment's going to go about 35 minutes, so the whole show is going to be 3 hours, 45 minutes. Again, no soccer show tomorrow. We'll be back, hopefully, later on the weekend here on Fired Up Live for more great programming. And again, the show is dedicated to Philip Basic, my uncle, my second father, my brother, and my best friend. Joseph Basic, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. And welcome to the wrestling show with my good friend, Giancarlo Lino. This entire show is dedicated to my uncle, who's not really my uncle. He is my second dad and my brother. He passed away this morning at 3 a.m. I miss him. I love him. This is the hardest thing I'm going to have to do, but I do it for the people on the Fired Up Network team. All right, Giancarlo, this is a wrestling show, so let's first start off with, unfortunately, a death also here. Terry Funk, 79 years old. Thoughts on Terry Funk?
Yeah, first off, condolences to you there and Terry Funk. Like when I saw that yesterday, like I know that in the headlines and stuff, like he'd been dealing with health issues, and you just go back and look at his impact on a lot of wrestlers because they all weighed in online. And Terry Funk also had an acting career and also stunt coordinator. And I know this might be a fun fact there for people who love the Rocky franchise. That Rocky 5 fight with Tommy Gunn and Rocky at the end there, Terry Funk was actually one of the coordinators on that. So that's one of the more memorable fights of the whole series, even though it didn't take place in the ring. So his impact was just beyond pro wrestling. So that's a big loss there with Terry Funk.
And all the wrestlers, CM Punk after Dynamite came out and honored Terry Funk, and also Ric Flair had, Jericho had, and all these guys in ECW had, was once a lifetime wrestler, and he sorely missed at 79 years old, passing away yesterday. So, and today, we talked about two deaths, but today, Vince McMahon, birthday today. So, happy birthday to Vince. Now, let's get to the wrestling show. What do you want to talk about? Sorry, Cody Rhodes. Regarding WWE, is it Cody? First of all, the crowd in Toronto, amazing with Edge. The crowd in Quebec City, amazing, even though the rooftop, it looked like it empty, but an amazing crowd. 7-minute ovation for Sami Zayn. But let's get to Friday, SmackDown. Edge's last official match with the WWE, unless he signs, and I'll have more details on that in just a second. With Sheamus, hard-hitting affair. What do you say here?
Yeah, I thought it was a great way for Edge to close that chapter on his career. Him and Sheamus. Don't think we've seen that match before, so it was something different. And Edge came out online after and talked about how important it was, or after the match, sorry, that him and Sheamus had. He really put over Sheamus with the crowd and really showed that Sheamus was influential in Edge coming back and being able to perform the way he does. So that was nice to see there. Great bit of respect there with Edge and Sheamus. And Edge then also coming up and saying that he has a contract extension in the inbox. I thought that was a nice little touch because there was that whole thing about whether he's just going to leave WWE. And in that video, he even said, like, if he feels he can top that, which kind of leads a lot of fans to believe that maybe his WWE career is over and that was his way of ending it. It's a fitting end in Toronto on SmackDown, a show that he helped make the destination for a lot of fans. So if that's the end of his WWE career, that'd be nice. But AEW with Christian, I think that could be the way he wants to end his actual pro wrestling career.
And what do you think he comes in at? Because Christian right now is a heel, even though he's half TNT champion. And Christian is in the boat with Swerve Strickland. They changed the boats like crazy. But you think Edge's not coming in as a heel?
No. So I think the way this whole embassy storyline's playing out, I have a feeling Luchasaurus, there might be a double turn, and Luchasaurus and Swerve do a number on Christian, and that leads to Edge coming out, and maybe Edge has 8 months left in him, and we see him at Double or Nothing next year, Edge and Christian versus the Hardys. One more time would be a nice way to end it.
First of all, if he's going to end up his career, there has to be another pay-per-view in Toronto again. There's no way he's not ending off his career in Toronto. All right, that's number one. So yes, that was a great SmackDown Toronto, and throughout the weekend they had house shows all over Canada. Trish Stratus did an amazing job. Face, heel, and all that. But like I mentioned, Raw, that crowd, Quebec City. First of all, NHL team. Second of all, that crowd with Sami Zayn, 7-minute standing ovation. He was milking it like crazy. Kevin Owens. I still nothing against Cody Rhodes, but I feel it's in Quebec, basically their hometown. Just give them the ball at the end of the night. Cody Rhodes, American, he didn't have to be there. Or leave the ring, Cody Rhodes. What do you say?
Yeah, I think they started the show and the fans let everybody know who they wanted to see. So Cody at the end of it, I think just to show that he's one of the faces on Raw, the main face, coming in there to celebrate with them. But I think the crowd was letting WWE know that they wanted to see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
All right, so now NXT, they had Heatwave this week. Mommy, Dominic, whoever you want, Braun Breaker now back, Tiffany Stratton back. What stood out for you regarding Heatwave?
I think that Dominic is slowly becoming the guy in WWE. No matter what they want to do to him, it's working. So he can be in NXT, that North American title. He can have a record reign, but I think they're prepping their fans that he's going to be the top dog there, whether it's Raw or SmackDown in the next 5 years.
Well, next 5 years, yeah. Mommy also. Raquel Rodriguez and Mommy going to be a good bout there next Saturday. Premier live event, not pay-per-view. Remember, Payback. Premier live event. All right, so let's get to AEW. Boy, did Tony Khan went on a conference call. He says, expect some changes. He changed half the card, all right, for All In, this Sunday. But like I said, Christian now teaming up with Strickland. Santana Ortiz, who don't get along, are going to be in the same page, but they took out, Ray Phoenix there. Which change was necessary and which change do you think wasn't necessary?
I find it odd that Santana and Ortiz are just thrown into this whole feud after not being on TV for so long, and I hope it's a decent match. Out of all the builds, I don't know where this one's going. Like, we don't even know Brian Danielson, his status. So I'm surprised Santana and Ortiz weren't involved with the Will Ospreay and Jericho Appreciation Society. So maybe they have them saved for later on the night as well.
And what else struck you for Dynamite this week?
Will Ospreay is a free agent in 2024, just like MJF. So if one misses out on MJF, then Will Ospreay is going to become the highest paid guy and highly sought after.
All right, so I'm just going to tell the producer to change it here. 1 second. Welcome to the On the Mat Wrestling Show. This time, NWA 75. Yes, 75 years of the NWA. Giancarlo, give me your memories of 75 years, more like 25 for you, of the NWA.
Yeah, when I started watching, like, NWA wasn't as big as it was early on in their existence, but seeing clips like online here and there over the years, like Adam Pearce, LA Knight, and then LA Knight coming back, the Shoes of a Champion promo during that
Yeah.
first year of Power. I thought that was their best TV every week. That was one of the highlights, even better than Raw, sometimes better than SmackDown and NXT, whatever would come on. And Aaron and the question mark, that whole Mongrovian karate dojo, that was a highlight. So those two together are what helped Power become the weekly destination for wrestling fans, because you had to see what Aaron and question mark were going to do in their karate demonstrations.
All right, so NWA 75, it's this Saturday and Sunday, August 26th and 27th at 8 p.m. They got matches for night 1 and matches for night 2. So quickly, a rundown the singles match here. Jordan Clearwater versus Zion with Austin Idol. Who do you got?
I'm gonna go with Austin Idol's guy there. I think Austin Idol is gonna continue to be one of those guys that have an influence on the outside. So I think he's gonna lead to a little distraction, and his guy's gonna get the win.
All right. Then we got the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship match. Alex Taylor, Eric Jackson, Jack Koa, and Matt Vine.
Yeah, these matches kind of like come out of nowhere, it seems like, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do a little bit of a swerve. So I'm gonna go with Vine. I think they have some high hopes for him.
U.S. title or United States Tag Team Championship. It's Daisy Kill and Talas versus the Fixers.
Yeah, you know what? This
Who
one,
cares?
yeah, I'll go the Fixers, but I think they need to start investing more time into building some of these guys up.
Woo woo woo. Matt Cardona versus Tippy Announce. Who do you think it is?
I'll go with Kurt Hawkins, Brian Myers.
Whatever. Jack Dane versus Tim Storm in a no disqualification bout.
Oh, Tim Storm coming back. You know what? Credit to him. He's been one of those guys when NWA really made their comeback there. He's in his 50s, going to be 60 soon. So I'll go Tim Storm getting the win.
All right, then the brothers against Magnum Muscle.
I'll go Magnum Muscle. Sounds like a crazy name.
The Rebellion with Vampiro versus Blunt Force Trauma with Aaron Stevens for the NWA World Tag Team titles.
I don't know what Vampiro's deal is. Just
They're
coming
gonna
out
make
like Aaron.
Vampiro fight with our guy. By the way, you could check out what this show is completely wrestling. All right, we got Trevor Murdoch, Aaron Stevens. We also got I'll tell you about later another interview there, Kratos. Okay, and obviously we're previewing all this. Plus we got John Freeman Nelson with CFL, but mostly wrestling here. So who you got in that one?
Yeah, the Vampiro just currently. I don't know what he's trying to do with Aaron. Aaron's just trying to conduct business. He's a manager. He's in their
I like his
corner.
jackets.
Yeah, it's from a local tailor here in Toronto, Woodbridge area. So Aaron has great taste, and yeah, I think Blunt Force Trauma gets a win and finally ends his title reign, because I don't know, like Vampiro, I think he'll cost his team in the end of it trying to put his nose there and go after Aaron. I think Aaron is gonna do something here and help Blunt Force Trauma become champions and fulfill their potential.
By the way, that you like that blue jacket? Aaron gave me one to give to you, pink one. All right, wear it. All right, so Kerry Morton versus Colby Corino for the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship.
I know they have high hopes for both these guys, with Colby Carino especially, but I'll go Kerry Morton retaining. Second generation guy, kind of like Carino, but he is a champion. I think they want to really get some attention on this title reign, and I think it'll be a lot longer. So I got Kerry Morton winning.
All right, then Kratos versus Addison and Thailbilly.
Yeah, Kratos, or Kratos, as Aaron called him when they were teaming. I think he's going to use that influence that Aaron had on him. He's going to draw on it, even though he's not in that team anymore. And I think Kratos gets the win from the wisdom of Aaron Stevens.
From the wisdom, all right. Allison Kay versus CJ versus Heather Monroe versus MJ Jenkins versus Jay, Samantha Starr, Saraya, Taylor Risen, The Ward, and other participants for the Burke Invitational Gauntlet for a shot at the NWA Women's title. Who do you think wins this one?
I think I'm going to go with another swerve here. I think Trinity from Impact comes in and
Whoa.
and wins this match. I think Allison Kay would probably be the one that they're building up here, but I think they're going to have Trinity take on Camille, probably at Bound for Glory. I think that would make sense. The NWA and Impact, this lineage and the history there, I think that would make sense if they come together there.
Then in the main event, or presumably main event of night one, no limits match for the NWA Women's World Championship, Natalia up against Camille. Over 800 days for Camille.
Yeah, I think it's going to continue here, even though I think it would be a fitting way to end the reign. Done a great job with like building up her opponent, Natalia, but I just think Camille's reign, they want to have that dominant reign to where when someone comes in and faces her for the title, even if she were to go to like AEW or something and take on like Jade Cargill, like Camille's been NWA's version, so I think she retains here.
All right, night two, of course, happening Sunday, August 27th, 8 p.m. Homicide versus Joe Alonzo.
I think this is a squash match. Joe Alonzo loses in, I think, 5 minutes.
Tag team match for the NWA World Women's Tag Team Championship. M95 versus Pretty Empowered.
Yeah, they're trying to build this division up. I still think that they're going to go with M95 retaining. I don't see Pretty Empowered, even though they're trying to put that idea out there that they could get it done, especially with the manager at ringside. I don't see it happening.
All right, either Love Rebellion or Blunt Force Trauma versus Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch for the NWA Tag Team titles.
Yeah, Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch, that's a team and a pairing that's kind of random, but that sounds like a team that you don't want to go up against. I'll go Blunt Force Trauma wins, and I have a feeling Vampiro again is going to stick his nose into this tag match and cost Blunt Force Trauma, and it will lead to Aaron maybe putting on the karate gi and showing Vampiro that you shouldn't be doing that. So unfortunately, I have Blunt Force Trauma's reign only lasting a night.
That sounds right. Camille or Natalia versus the Burke Invitational Gauntlet winner. So it's basically Camille against, from what you say, Trinity.
Okay, if that's the case, they could do it. I think it should build it up a lot longer, but let's say it is. I'll go with the pick there. Trinity winning and Camille. I think that ends in a double disqualification and Bound for Glory 2 months away. Rematch. I think that would be fitting.
The Country Gentlemen versus Daisy Kill and Tylos or the Fixers.
Yeah, I'll go with the Fixers. Jay Bradley is got like a second opportunity here in his career, so I think they get the job done.
Kerry Morton or Colby Corino versus Jamboree winner.
Yeah, I still got Kerry Morton. I think he's going to win both nights. It's going to be an event that really builds around him becoming more of a star for NWA.
Wait, Kratos, Onison, or Billy versus the Battle Royal winner.
A Kratos squash match.
Tyrus in the main event in a bull rope match for the NWA World Title. Tyrus versus EC3.
Yeah, bull rope match just screams NWA and that type of wrestling market because those old school matches, right up their alley. I'll go EC3. I think he deserves to get a reign here, and I think he gets it.
You really think he gets it?
Yeah, because Tyrus, if he loses, if he's going to retire from in ring, they don't say anything about outside the ring. So I think EC3 gets it done, and then Tyrus evens a score somewhere down the road.
All right. So that will do it for NWA 75 again. Saturday, August 26th, Sunday, August 27th at 8 p.m. Now, let's get to the biggest wrestling event ever in the history of wrestling. First of all, do you think that is? We're talking about All In, Wembley Stadium on Sunday, August 27th. It starts at noon Toronto time with the 0 hour buy-in, whatever you want to call it. And Giancarlo, I gotta say this. It's going to be, Aussie Open versus MJF and Adam Cole, baby, for the titles. Now, is this the biggest wrestling event in the history of wrestling?
It could be. We'll see what the attendance figure is for how many people show up to it, but it looks like it's trending in that direction. So good for AEW because I don't think anyone really expected them to go to Wembley Stadium. I think everybody thought they would go to Craven Cottage because of Tony Khan owning Fulham, which would make sense, but they went big right out. So I think it'd be a nice story if they do get it done.
All right. So who's your pick?
I think Aussie Open are going to retain. I think either Adam Cole or MJF. I'm leaning more towards MJF, even though they're teasing it's Adam Cole that turns. But I just think I can't see them winning the ROH title and then main eventing later that night and everything going to plan. And they just have a nice little send off for the crowd. I think one of them, probably MJF, hits him with the diamond ring and set the stage for the main event.
All right, so that's again 0 hour. Let's get to the first match of the evening, and let's talk about this match. This match was just changed last night. Darby Allin and Sting, or like Tony Schiavone says, it's Sting. Number one against Swerve Strickland and Canadian boy Christian.
Yeah, and Impact are quick with the Twitter handle because as soon as this match was announced, they already pulled up Christian and Sting and Impact from like 2009, 2008. So they're showing that this was done before, and it just adds to the history here. I think Christian and Swerve win the match, and it's going to be a result of Darby Allin. So I don't think Sting is going to be the reason why, and I think they pick this up the next week at All Out.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of changes. All in, all out, blah, blah, blah. All right. And this match we're looking forward to the most. All right, at least I am. Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay.
Yeah, I got Will Ospreay winning here. I think Jericho and Don Callis, I think they're building something there. And I think this is going to lead to whatever's happening at All Out the next week. It's not going to really give them much time to build, but I think they're going to use it for the build to that. So I think Will Ospreay gets a win.
All right. Now, this is the first of like 17 six-man tags, okay? The Golden Elite, Hangman Page, if you want to put it that way, Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, and his lifelong partner, you understand what I'm saying, against Jay White, Rock Hard, and his partner. Who do you think here?
Yeah, the whole thing that it's a six-man tag is a little disappointing. I would have liked to see showcase Kenny Omega and even Jay White, but I think the Bullet Club Gold win this match, and I think at All Out we see Kenny Omega versus Jay White one-on-one.
All right. You're going to be wrong. All right. So another six-man tag. All right. The House of Black versus Mr. or what am I going to call him? Billy Gunn, Mr. Ass, whatever you want to call him in the claim. Go ahead.
Yeah, House of Black win. I think this is where Billy Gunn finally turns on the Acclaimed. He came out in
Listen. Never mind. All right. Then we got a 10-man tag. Not only do we have a 6-man tag, we got a 10-man tag that just changed again. Santana Ortiz with the Black Hole Conga Club, Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, Eddie Kingston, Penta and all that. Who do you got this one? And don't forget, this is a stadium stampede match. And boy, in Wembley Stadium, this stadium is huge.
Yeah, John Moxley's gonna bleed, I guess, 3 minutes in. So be prepped for that if you're watching. So I got Blackpool Combat Club getting the win. How they'll do it, who they're gonna pin, probably Eddie Kingston, and maybe they do Moxley and Claudio versus Kingston and whoever he wants to find for next week. But yeah, I got John Moxley getting the win for his team.
All right. Then let's go to the ladies about a 4-way match. Saraya, Kiro, Tony Storm, and my dentist, Dr. Britt Baker. What a night could be for Adam Cole and Dr. Britt Baker.
Could be, but I think this is all for Saraya to win in Wembley. So I think Saraya wins the title and slowly moves away from the Outcasts and becomes a face.
All right. Tag team championships, Young Bucks versus FTR.
Yeah, the Young Bucks were or Matt Jackson was kind of mean on Dynamite in that whole interview. That was like kind of uncalled for. Just tear down the whole FTR name and why they were brought into AEW. So yeah, I think the Young Bucks win the titles, and we'll probably have a rematch the next week, or they'll use something in that. Maybe CM Punk will finally make amends with everybody and they'll get on the same page, but I think the Young Bucks win.
You mentioned CM Punk. Match for the real world title, as opposed to the next match, which is the main event for the AEW world title. So it's CM Punk versus Samoa Joe.
Yeah, Samoa Joe and Punk, like, I think they shouldn't have had this on Collision when they did a couple months ago. I think that kind of takes away from this and how big it could have been. So I think CM Punk retains his real world title, and at the end of the night, we're gonna see something leading to All Out, and maybe it's a 2 world champions, or maybe it's CM Punk interfering because he can show up in the Young Bucks match if that's before the main event and set the stage for next week.
And don't forget, All Out next week is in Chicago, Illinois. Now, main event in front of 85,000 fans. Adam Cole, baby, versus my Jewish friend, MJF. Who you got in this one?
I have, I'm gonna go MJF still, and maybe we see Roderick Strong with the Kingdom, and they attack Adam Cole at the end of the match, where you think MJF turned heel earlier, but really he's still in between there. It was just him being a competitor, and he toes that like in between line there and helps Adam Cole even up the odds. And Roderick Strong and Adam Cole build up a feud going into maybe All Out or Full Gear after that.
This, for me, is what's going to happen. Adam Cole wins the belt for a week because, the swerve and all that. But then Adam Cole promises Roderick Strong a title shot, and that doesn't happen at All Out. So he then turns again and beats MJF will beat him again at All Out. So MJF loses the title Saturday, wins the title Sunday in Chicago. Now, again, Wembley Stadium, All In, Saturday noon. The pre-show. Is this like are these the matches? Do you wish they added one more match or whatever? And there's, I think, 10 matches. Is this going to go like 6 hours?
Yeah, I would prepare for that. And I think they saw that the number that they sold out, so they didn't really have to put any more effort in towards a build and the matches. So I see that they're kind of like already building towards All Out, which is kind of a shame. I think they could have really put some matches on here. Maybe if it wasn't selling well, they would have like really gone out and tried to get Kenny versus Punk or Hangman versus Punk and get matches like this together. But I think they're content with just selling out the arena or the stadium. Sorry.
If they're content selling out their stadium there, I don't know. Do you think this will enable WWE to go to Wembley Stadium and sell more tickets than AEW did?
Yeah, I think WWE's in a position where they want Wembley to pay them to come and not like them searching out the venue for their one night. And I think they kind of did that with Clash of the Castle. I think Wales or the sporting department over there in that city, in that country, really put up an offer that WWE said, okay, we'll come there. And Wembley didn't want to pay that much. So I think WWE is in a different business sphere right now compared to AEW.
All right, that's the AEW All In happening Sunday noon. The pre-show, 1, the regular show, but also Sunday we have Impact Wrestling Plus at Toronto's Rebel Entertainment Complex. Emergence. All right, have you been to Rebel, Giancarlo?
No, never.
You've never been to Rebel?
Don't even know where it is.
You've never been to you don't like to shake your tuchus? You don't like to party like if it's 1999?
Yeah, all
You
the
know,
lights there. I don't
Giancarlo,
want to get a seizure.
I have a few connections in Rebel. Do you want to be like the show card girls, like show card guy, and like woo woo like that? Come on, I think you'd be perfect for that.
Nah, I wouldn't. The lights in there, yeah, probably not.
All right, so let's get to the matches here. It's an 8-man tag match. Time Machine and Josh Alexander versus Brian Myers, Bully Ray, Leo Rush, and Moose.
Yeah, I like this whole time machine. Alex Shelley and Kushida back together. I think that's good. And you have Chris Sabin, Motor City Machine Guns back together. I think that's good. I think Josh Alexander, you had him into the mix. I don't see them losing because of that. So whatever happens here, Brian Myers, Moose, like I think Moose might be on his way out, but I think I can't see Time Machine with Josh Alexander losing the match.
Single match, Jake something. Okay, well, first of all, what's the something? All right, they give him a name, and Sanada, and they've been hyping off this guy, so you know who's gonna win. But Jake something. Can you give this guy a name, Giancarlo, or not?
He's just something. So I think that
Yeah, but
makes it
what is the
memorable.
something? The something is what?
Anything could be something, could be
Well,
nothing.
it should be if it should be Jake anything then, not Jake something.
Could be. But yeah, I think
What do you
Sonata
could be?
though.
I need to know yes or no. What's could be? Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Sonata wins. He's a former IWGP heavyweight champ, and I don't think he's going to come for an Impact show to lose to somebody who's not a world champion. It wouldn't really help their business partnership with the two companies. So I think it'll be a hard fought out match, kind of like what he did with Jungle Boy, and I think Sonata wins here.
Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championship match. MK Ultra, The Covenant, Death Dolls, Giselle Shaw, and Savannah Evans.
Yeah, this is going to be, I think, a pretty long match. I think they'll give this time because like 4 teams are involved. It would build up a division if you can have them all look strong, which could be a little bit difficult depending on where they are in the show. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of the longest matches of the night. And I see the champions, MK Ultra, retain the title.
Subculture versus the Radicals in a World Tag Team title match.
Yeah, I'll go with Subculture retaining here too. I don't see another title change here. I think this will be a fun one just because of how everybody's kind of like an X Division kind of wrestler. So Subculture, I think, gets a win.
Kenny King versus Johnny Swinger for the Digital Media Championship.
Yeah, this match kind of came out of nowhere. Kenny King, nice to see him still going in Impact. I think he wins a match though. Like Johnny Swinger, I don't know what his role is right there. Like he's been around so long, so I think Kenny King's winning it.
For the 700th time, Knockouts World Championship match. Trinity versus Diana Perrazzo.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Trinity winning. So that my prediction of her being in that battle royal obviously won't happen. I didn't know that Impact are having a show in that far away, but yeah, I think she wins here and retains. I think this will be the longest match of the night.
By the way, also Impact Wrestling, it's the CNE now. Impact Wrestling is going to have some few shows at the CNE on Saturday and on Sunday, and also you'll see the fallout of Emergence on Monday at the Rebel Entertainment Complex. And by the way, if you haven't been to Rebel for wrestling, it's simply fantastic. Well, I'm biased because I have been, and I was given first row, right? So a little bit biased, all right, a little bit biased, but a great way to see great action there. And again, it's wrestling, wrestling, wrestling all week. We talked about, Saturday, NWA 75, Sunday, NWA 75, Sunday, noon. So basically, you got wrestling all day, noon, all in, then 8 o'clock, emergence. Put in there, you got, the Blue Jays, and you got Giancarlo going nuts about Austin Matthews signing a 4-year deal, $53 million, none to him. All right. And then next week, don't forget next week, we got Premier Live event. Giancarlo, and also the return of You Can't See Him, John Cena. So what do you think John Cena's gonna do?
Probably get involved with Grayson Waller and have a match that they didn't have at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and who do you think? Do you think John Cena already puts this guy over?
No. He did that with Austin Theory. I think John Cena gets a win back on somebody, and Grayson Waller's going to be that guy.
Let me talk to you. What about him?
I think him and The Miz, I'd like to see them
Yeah.
push on the feud to
Yeah.
Survivor Series. So I hope it's on a payback. I think they should build it up for another couple months.
So right now, if you're looking for Survivor Series, which is 2 months away, you got Roman Reigns, who's probably still going to be the champion, up against who? Seth Rollins with a broken freaking back.
Or they can do the whole tribal combat fatal 4-way. Solo, Jimmy, Jay, and Roman.
Or not. All right, Giancarlo, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you. And again, there will not be a soccer show tomorrow, but Giancarlo will be writing for firedupnetwork.ca. Will be writing for Sports Gita. Will be all over Vibe. And by the way, speaking about soccer, who do you have on for Vibe this week?
Jordan Peruzza, who's on loan at Halifax. So we got to see he's getting a little bit more playing time, which is good to see. He'll finally get an opportunity, so hopefully he makes the most of it.
All right, and anything in MMA wise that you want to close out with?
Yeah, Conor McGregor, hopefully, is fighting in December. I highly doubt it now, but give him the exemption. That would be nice.
All right. That's Giancarlo Lino. Stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network. Thanks a lot, Giancarlo.
Thanks.